Hello guys, how are you all? Today we are back with second part of this Naruto series. What if Naruto was cursed by Kaguya and reborn in high school DxD with power even great feared? If you enjoy this video then please like, share and do comment. And also check the description box to original creator of this video will creation. So let's start the story.
Fate looks at the string with a slight frown adorning her beautiful face as she floats above a sea of strings of all different sizes that represents her world tapestry. Normally, when someone thinks of a tapestry, they think of a neat, orderly picture made up of finely woven strings, but for Fate, this isn't the case. Below her is a convoluted soup of everyone's destiny that only she can control, manipulate, or read. Fortunately for everyone, she is usually just content on letting things play out naturally. She feels a slight disturbance in her dimension as it seems someone has come to visit her. Not an easy feat considering the wards surrounding the dimension to keep others out as well as intruding upon her home. She won't hesitate to defend this place at all costs, with only a few in existence that could stand up to her. This time however, Fate recognizes the person immediately and a small smile adorns her face. She won't call them friends, but friendly acquaintances as their lines of responsibilities are interconnected. She waits, looking at the orange string still curled up in her hands, as the other presents makes their way over to her. As soon as they get close, her golden eyes look up to see another beautiful, 25-year-old woman that radiates an aura of finality and strictness. Her long black hair cascades down her back while her piercing brown eyes stare at Fate. If Fate was anyone else she would have flinched. She is wearing a black blazer with a white button-down and black tie along with a black skirt that goes down to her mid-thigh. Underneath are black stockings with black heels adorning her feet. "What's up, Death?" Fate asks casually. "I noticed you left your realm recently and I want to know why," Death says in a no-nonsense tone. "Straight to the point, I found something interesting in the Norse pantheon," Fate says as her eyes glance down at the orange string. Death's eyes narrow. "The last time you said that was when you caused the biblical god to die and then looked at your world tapestry. You better not be planning to do something like that again," Death threatens. Fate rolls her golden orbs. "No, I just found an interesting individual. Powerful too. So much so that I can't directly interfere with his destiny," Fate says, slightly surprising Death. "How is there someone that powerful you didn't know about before? You have been around since the beginning like me," Death questions. She hates not knowing something. "That's because he just appeared here from a different universe. Having seen what he has gone through, well, my interest is slightly piqued. I haven't ever had something this fun to do in a long time," Fate says with a giggle. "You better not be doing anything that will drastically change the future or else," Death warns. Yay, whatever," Fate waves her off dismissively. Death teleports away while curiosity sparkles in Fate's eyes. "Now what to do to you first?" Fate asks out loud till she gets a smile on her face. "I know," she exclaims and starts feeding the orange string into her world tapestry while moving and tying another to it. All the while her giggles can be heard throughout her dimension. Revel Fenix is not having a good day. First, her hair was not cooperating with her this morning, making her late to the family breakfast and her mother scolded her for being late. Then, her Oni-sama, Riser Fenix, invited her to go to the human realm with him as he has been trying to recruit 2 Nekomata to his peerage as he wants catgirls for his harem. Honestly, when he flaunts that he has a harem so openly, no wonder that Gregori is adamant about not marrying him. She went with him and what does he do? He abandons her to go have with them to celebrate adding them to his peerage. Okawa-sama will be angry when she finds out. Still, she decides to explore a little bit as she doesn't want to hear anything. While she walks around and looks at everything, she ended up getting lost. As she walks down a side street back to where she thinks her brother is, a magic barrier goes up around her that prevents humans from entering and her from sending out communications or teleporting away. Of course, if she had high enough magical power she could break through the barrier and teleport, but she doesn't. Why train when you are immortal? She finds herself surrounded by 3 devils, each having magical reserves on the higher end of mid-class devil level, which is above hers by a bit. It would be way more if not for her great genes from her parents. "It looks like we have caught a little bird," one of them says with a sinister grin. "I think Leviathan-sama will be most pleased," another says. I am Revel Fenix. My family knows Mao Leviathan personally, so stop this," Revel says, trying to project confidence. All the devils start laughing at her pitiful attempt. We meant the true Leviathan, little girl. Caitlin Leviathan. One of them sneers out and her eyes widen in shock. These devils were with the old Mao faction. What do you want from me? She stammers out fearfully. Well, we are going to force you to produce tears for us and we are going to breed you. One of them says darkly with a chuckle. Revel's face goes pale as she knows what that means. Stay back. My brother is here. He will kill you all if you so much as touch me, Revel shouts at the top of her lungs as she takes a step back from the one talking. You mean the brother that is currently several miles away having? One chuckles. I think not. The first devil launches himself at Revel, who lets out an eep of fear and sends out a weak fireball at him. The devil calmly dodges it before punching her, sending her back as she lets out a shout of pain. Revel quickly climbs to her feet, with tears in her eyes, and starts launching fireballs at her opponents, who all laugh and calmly dodge them. One of the devils gets behind her and sends a blast of water magic at her, sending her flying and doused in water. This time she lets out a scream of pain as it hurts really bad, even if she can heal her body. She tries to get up and flee, only for a leg to kick her squarely in the stomach. Tears run down her face as they laugh at her. This isn't supposed to happen. She is an immortal Fenix. How can she be losing? Well, I think it's time we ended this farce, boys. The leader of the three says as he walks toward her. She cries even harder as she knows she can't do anything right now. Please somebody save me, she screams out in her mind, closing her eyes, just as the man is about to stomp on her head. Suddenly, an enormous killing intent floods the field and the devil about to kick her jumps away as he barely avoids a fireball. The other two aren't so lucky and get engulfed by a fire dragon. Their screams only last for a second until they only remain as charred corpses. The devil that narrowly dodged his death looks bewildered and a bit frightened after seeing his comrades easily die. He sees a blonde teen standing in front of the Fenix girl now, who points to the side. He glances over and his eyes widen before he is engulfed by a fire dragon as well, not even getting time to curse his opponents in his head before he dies. You can open your eyes. They are gone now, a voice in front of her says. She peeks through her eyelids, seeing a handsome blonde teen giving her a soft smile and a hand. She blushes as she takes the hand and pulls herself up off the ground. She can feel that he is a powerful devil and his image looks familiar to her. Her eyes glance around and see another girl, a devil as well, who looks around 16 with silver hair and piercing blue eyes. The girl quickly moves herself to be beside the blonde, and gives her a hard stare. Then she sees 3 charred corpses and she immediately turns a little green. Whoa, easy there Oju-sama. It's fine now. You will be fine, the blonde says soothingly. She takes a moment to swallow the bile threatening to come out of her throat and gives the blonde a hug with a shaky nod. Tears still coming out but they are now in relief. Thank you for saving me, she cries out as she sobs louder. Her savior just shushes her and rubs her hand on her back comfortingly. No problem. We happened to be in the area and noticed the magic barrier keeping humans out, the blonde says. As she steps away after finally getting herself under control, she takes a closer look and notices his 3 whisker marks on each cheek. She squints her eyes in confusion as she is sure that she knows this person. Is something wrong? The silver-haired girl asks. Revel shakes her head. No, nothing wrong, it's just you look very familiar to me. Please excuse my manners, Savior Samas. My name is Revel Fenix, she says as she curtsies slightly. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, the blonde says with a smile. Revel's eyes widen in shock and a little fear as everyone in the underworld knows of him. The stray sulfur monosulfide class devil from Mao Leviathan's peerage. The blonde's smile turns into a frown. Hey, you don't have to fear me, Revel-chan. I am not going to do anything to hurt you, he reassures her. She nods slightly, a little less afraid, and looks over to the other girl. I am Vali, disciple of my sensei, she says, inclining her head to the blonde so that she knows who her sensei is. Naruto smiles and creates 2 clones to deal with the damage. Revel's eyes widen slightly as she heard rumors that he had such an ability. So, Revel-chan, what brings you to Tokyo today? Naruto asks her with a smile. Well, Naruto-sama, I am here with my brother. He is taking care of other business right now, so I thought I'd walk around a bit. Then these devils from the old Mao faction showed up and were planning on kidnapping me, Revel says, shuddering slightly. Vali scowls at hearing the name of that group. The old Mao faction, huh? First time I have ran into them. Pathetically weak though. That does beg the question. Have you ever trained in your life? I caught the tail end of that fight and it was horrendous, Naruto asks. Revel, offended, says, I am a Fenix. We are immortal, so there is no reason to train. Both Naruto and Vali deadpan her before Vali starts snickering. You do realize you just lost, right? And since they were going to kidnap you and you're a girl, what could possibly happen, right? Naruto adds on a little heatedly. Revel flushes a bit at the first question before paling at the second. She can still hear the words, we are going to breed you, that one devil said. She shudders again, the world feeling a lot less warm than it used to. Well, at least you realized what can happen to you before it's too late. Some girls never get that chance, Naruto says with a slightly haunted look. He remembers clearing some bandit camps and the dead-eyed look the women that were kidnapped had. How am I supposed to beat them? I just turned 13 inches, Revel complains, not feeling scared at all in the blonde's presence anymore, even though she knew she should. It's hard to be scared of your savior after all. Pointing his thumb at Vali, Naruto says, she just turned 14 and she would have easily crushed those three without any problem. She's only 14? I would at least have thought 16 inches, Revel shouts as she looks at Vali. Vali smiles a bit at the compliment. Is that really what you are taking away from this? Naruto deadpans her. He shakes his head. Regardless, Revel-chan, you should definitely train to at least have the power to protect yourself. Find yourself a sensei. Naruto turns around to leave, his clones having already done their job of fixing up the signs of the battle. Wait. Revel cries out, seeing that her savior is leaving. Naruto turns his head and raises an eyebrow, silently asking what she wants. See, can you train me? She squeaks out, getting Naruto to turn around with both his eyebrows raised and Vali to stiffen on the spot. Why are you asking me, who you know is a stray devil and just met, to train you? He questions. What do you mean why? You should be honored that a lady such as I would even ask such a thing of you, she says with haughtiness. Naruto immediately turns around and continues walking, not even giving her a response. Wait, it's because you are strong and seem to be a good person even if you are a stray. Like one of those bedtime stories my Okawa-sama used to read me about a prince saving the princess, she mutters out with a blush, but they still hear it. Vali clenches her fist. What about your family? Won't they not like the idea? It'll be fine. I can work it out, Revel promises him. It'll be the hardest thing of your life. No problem. I guess it wouldn't be a problem to take on another student, Naruto mumbles to himself before nodding his head. Okay, but we do things my way. You promise to keep our secrets, and if you quit once you are out. I can do that, Revel says with a nod. Sensei. Vali says loudly, drawing their stares. You are my sensei, not hers. Naruto goes over to her and pets her on the head, getting her to calm down slightly. Vali-chan, it's okay. I am not replacing you and I am not going anywhere. I think this could be good for you too, having someone roughly your age to talk to and another sparring partner. I will do anything you want, within reason of course, Naruto says to her. Fine, Vali concedes. It's really hard for her to say no to her sensei anyway. Besides, this might help her deal with her Freya problem. Alright, Revel-chan, looks like you are all set. Do you have a way to contact you? Naruto asks. She summons a contract slip and hands it to him. Channel your magic into that and I will meet you wherever, Revel explains. That's convenient. I will summon you tomorrow morning. Pack enough clothes to last an entire month. Make sure they are warm, Naruto says as he waves goodbye. The magical barrier that he set up, just on the outside of the old one, fades away. Revel watches the two of them go, specifically the blonde, with a small smile on her face. I am glad I thought of that on the spot to see him again. It really was just like the stories, the way he saved me. Now I have to somehow convince Okawa-sama and Oto-sama to let me go away for a month, Revel thinks to herself. She teleports herself back home, not even caring about her Oni-sama at the moment as she has much bigger things to worry about. Arriving in front of her family home, as the home itself doesn't allow anyone to teleport directly into it, and only main family Fenix members and their peerages can teleport in front of the main door. The rest had to go to the guardhouse. She walks through the front doors into the reception area of the house, that has marble floors, gold-plated trim, priceless artwork around, and a massive crystal chandelier hanging from the ceiling. She sees a maid cleaning the corner and walks up to her. "Welcome back, Revel-sama," the maid says as she bows. "Where is my Okawa-sama?" "Lady Fenix-sama I believe is out in the garden," the maid answers politely. "Thanks," Revel says as she quickly walks to the garden. She wants to run, but her mother would scold her and tell her that a lady isn't supposed to run in the house. It takes her 10 minutes to finally reach the garden, where she sees her mother, the woman she gets her looks from, reading a book in the gazebo. "Okawa-sama," Revel calls out, getting her mother's attention. Revel can't wait to grow up and look exactly like her mother. Her long curly blonde hair that flows down to her waist, and her body that looks amazing with a chest any woman would be proud of. It's no wonder why her mom is regarded as beautiful even among devil standards. "Ah, Revel," her mother says with a smile, closing the book that she is reading and placing it down. "Your brother's business is already completed in the human world?" Revel scrounges up her face slightly. "I have no idea," she says honestly. "What do you mean?" Lady Fenix questions with an eyebrow raised. "Well, I was with him and the twin Nekomata accepted his offer to join his peerage. After they finished the ritual, Riser told me to leave for a while so that he could have some fun with them. I walked around town for a while, until several old Mao faction devils tried to kidnap me," she says, getting a horrified gasp from her mother. Lady Fenix rushes over and gives her a hug. "My baby, are you alright? What happened?" "I am fine now, Okawa-sama. At the time, I was trying and miserably failing at fighting them. They hit me and it hurt so much," Revel says as new tears as she remembers the pain. "They said some terrible things about what they were going to do to me," she sobs. Lady Fenix power flares in anger as she comforts her daughter. "Shush, it's all right now. You are safe here," she says reassuringly. "They were about to take me away, when Savior-sama and his student show up. He takes care of them in like 2 seconds, burning them to charred corpses. He then helps me up and comforted me. They said they felt the magical barrier and just checked it out. Without them," Revel says shakily. "Well, I hope you invited them over so that I can properly thank them for protecting my little girl," Lady Fenix says as she releases Revel from her hug. "And no, but Savior-sama told me that he caught the tail end of my fight and gave me a dressing down for never training before to protect myself. They were leaving and, well, it was just like the stories you read to me, and I wanted to see him again, so I asked him to teach me how to fight," Revel says with a hopeful expression. Lady Fenix tries to speak, but she plows on. "I had to convince him to take me on and he finally relented. His other student is a 14-year-old girl, so I would have a friend if I joined him. He told me that I only get 1 shot and to pack for a month. Warm clothes too," Revel pleads as she looks at her mom with large eyes. "Please let me go, Okawa-sama. He is really nice and strong," Revel finishes with a slight blush at the end. Something that Lady Fenix picks up on. "Have a crush on him already?" she teases her daughter. Revel never acts this way as she is always a proper young lady, so seeing her beg and have a crush like a normal little girl is refreshing to Lady Fenix. No," Revel says, waving her hands in front of her face with slight steam coming out of her ears. "I think you might." "What is his name?" Lady Fenix asks. Revel suddenly gets nervous and takes a deep calming breath. "This is going to be the hardest part. It's Uzumaki Naruto," Revel says. Lady Fenix's eyes widen dramatically. She recognizes that name. Every devil does. The sulfur monosulfide class stray from Mao Leviathan's peerage. Thought to have killed 20 bounty hunter high-class level devils. Known to associate with a girl around 13 with silver hair. A do not fight unless you are an ultimate class devil warning attached to the name. "Absolutely not," Lady Fenix says with a shake of her head. He is an sulfur monosulfide class stray devil that has killed 20 bounty hunter devils. "But Okawa-sama, he is really nice. I convinced him to take me on. Of course, he is going to defend himself from bounty hunters." Revel whines. "I don't care, Revel. There are rules in place regarding strays. No devil may assist them in any way," Lady Fenix says with a shake of her head. "Besides, I don't want you around someone that dangerous." "I am going," Revel says, stomping her foot on the ground. "He saved me when no one else would have. I don't care what anyone else thinks, he is a nice person." Lady Fenix gives Revel her best glare. which always cowers everyone, including her husband, into giving in. Surprisingly, Revel stares back at her, just as determined. Lady Fenix sighs, as she does have to give the man some credit for saving her daughter. I am coming to meet him tomorrow with you. Absolutely no compromise there. From there I will determine if it is okay for you to train under this man, she says sternly. She is a middle-tier ultimate-class devil with the power of immortality. She is confident that she can hold her own long enough to get herself and her daughter out safely if she needs to. She can also summon a couple of her peerage members herself should she require. Thanks, Okawa-sama. I promise you will like him, Revel says with a smile. Okay sweetie, why don't you go pack while I go test the extent of your brother's regenerative capabilities, Lady Fenix says with a smile that is way too sweet. She saw her give that to Oto-sama once when they went to spar. She came back in much better shape than he did. Revel runs off to her room, intent on packing everything she could possibly need. Ah Revel. Her mom calls out after her, a lady doesn't run. Revel slows down immediately and fast walks back. There is no rule against that after all. A couple hours later, Riser's screams echoed through their entire estate as Revel hums happily while packing a few suitcases. The next morning Lady Fenix is standing by her daughter, waiting for her to be summoned. Revel has been ready since 6 a.m., eager to see her savior Sama again. Lord Fenix is also nearby, sitting in a chair as he has a small frown on his face. He was really against the idea last night, but his wife told him that they had to give Naruto some goodwill as he did save their daughter. He couldn't imagine life without his little girl. Layla, you will summon me if you need to, right? He asks nervously. His wife may be more powerful than him, but that doesn't mean he is a slouch either. He is a low-tier ultimate-class devil himself. Yes, Revan I will. Besides, I am sure I can handle anything that happens, Layla says with a nod. She may haven't fought seriously since the Civil War, but she still trains on occasion. Okawa-sama, he is summoning me, Revel says excitedly. She nods her head and takes a deep breath, focusing in case she has to battle. Revel creates a teleportation circle and they disappear. 4x. Naruto, with Vali in her training gear, stands behind him. He accepted the girl's request on a whim, not wanting a young girl like her to not be powerful enough to protect herself. He may not be able to help everyone, but he can help someone in front of him who asks for it. Plus, this could get him one less enemy in the underworld. He pours some magic into the small sheet of paper Revel gave him as the stand in front of their house. Naruto knows that he is going to have his work cut out with this girl, so he wants to see if she can handle it. He is introducing his version of Hell Week, except it's a month long. He was serious that if she quit once, he wasn't going to train her anymore. Vali, meanwhile, while happy that they are leaving for parts unknown to her, which means unknown to Freya, is also annoyed that she has to share her sensei's attention. Still, she did get that promise from him and is thinking of the perfect request. A magic circle, bigger than what would be used for one person, appears in front of them. Vali is on guard instantly, but Naruto waves her down. He figured this would happen. In front of them Revel appears with several suitcases and a taller, more mature version of Revel appears right next to her with her gaze focused and sharp. She instantly takes in their surroundings and her eyes stay on him, as if studying him. Definitely an experienced warrior. And wow, her magic reserves are higher than mine. Naruto thinks a little surprised. Clearly, someone in Revel's house knows how to fight. Meanwhile, Layla is trying to get a read on her potential enemy's power. It seems as if the girl has upper high-class devil reserves along with some type of strong sacred gear. She thinks to herself, a little surprised at how strong the 14-year-old girl is along with the look in her eyes. Confident, determined, and hardened. Not something you usually see in a young teen's eyes nowadays. Her thoughts then swing to the blonde. She is slightly surprised to see how young he looks as she hasn't seen a picture of the blonde before. Still, that isn't telling of age in the supernatural world. It seems he has low-tier ultimate class power, but what's strange is how the magic clings to him. Like it is encasing something, she thinks. She stretches her senses to the limit, looking for what is underneath his magic. She has always been a terrible sensor. Finally, she senses chakra? Underneath his magic. Oh my Mao. It's like an endless ocean, she thinks to herself. Thanks to controlling her reactions for centuries, the only outward expression of shock is her eyes widening marginally. It's like standing next to Sirzex or Ajuka. How the hell did Sarafal even reincarnate such a monster? She thinks to herself, slightly in awe and fear. Hey Revel-chan, you sure packed a lot, but you are probably going to need it. Who is this? Your older sister? Naruto questions. Lady Fenix blushes slightly at the compliment, but immediately recomposes herself as she reminds herself with who she is dealing with. Someone that could easily crush her. Curtsying, Lady Fenix politely says, "Hello Uzumaki Dono. My name is Layla Fenix, Revel's mother." Whoa really? Well, it is nice to meet you Fenix-san. Please, I hate formalities so just call me Naruto, he says with a wave of the hand. Yes, I just wanted to meet the man who saved my daughter and thank him. And to also ask what you are planning to teach my daughter? Layla says. Revel is a little surprised by the way her mother is acting, as it seems she now has no qualms with this. Well, how to fight and survive of course. And if you are wondering if I am a good teacher, ask Vali here, Naruto says. Layla looks at Vali, who seems to be in good health and is definitely a cut above the rest for her age. How is the training? She asks. Revel listens on intently, curious as well. It's torture, Vali deadpans. Every day sensei will break you down and remake you a little better than before. He will expose all your flaws and make you pay with pain. He doesn't ease up and I am always exhausted by the end of the day. It isn't for the weak, but I have no complaints. Naruto chuckles nervously while Layla's sweat drops at that description. She glances over to her daughter, who looks a lot more nervous than before, but still with a determined glint in her eye. You will take care of my daughter, right? Layla questions sternly. Even if she has no chance in hell against him, she will still fight to protect her. With my life, Naruto answers seriously, his gaze never wavering for a moment. She nods her head, while Revel blushes at how serious Naruto said that. Then I have no problems. Also, just one last question. How old are you? Layla asks. She should have heard of him before if he is as powerful as she thinks he is. I am 18. Why? Naruto asks with a head tilt. Layla shakes her head, trying to get rid of her disbelief. How does an 18-year-old have that much power? Revel, meanwhile, gets a smile on her face at his answer. No reason. Listen to your sensei now Revel. Layla says sternly before teleporting away. So, Naruto-sama, what are we doing first? Revel asks a little nervously. That description from Vali didn't sound promising. First Revel-chan, I want you to call me Naruto-sensei or just sensei like Vali-chan. I think it is more appropriate and, if you want to look at it in a certain perspective, more respectful too, Naruto says. Revel nods her head as she can definitely do that. As for what we are doing, well, I decided that we are going to have to do is to take the stick out of your ass. I have an innate sense for knowing which people have won as well as having the skill to deal with it. Luckily, you are still young enough where it is reversible, Naruto says with a grin that doesn't give her any comfort. Therefore, we are going to be camping and training in the forest of northern Canada for the entire month, Naruto says cheerfully. Vali smiles as this is definitely a good thing for her, while Revel pales even more so. She has never camped before, nor been without servants. Naruto grabs Revel's shoulder, as if preventing her from running right away. Let's go, he exclaims and creates a teleportation circle that teleports them into the middle of the wilderness in 3 feet of snow. Revel is shivering already, and something tells her that it is going to get worse. 4x. Pain, Revel thinks, accurately sums up her first week with Naruto-sensei and Vali. The first thing he did was have her work out in the snow for 4 hours. She has never done it once in her life before. The agony of her feet, arms, and legs, which would heal after each step are representative before hurting on the next one. She thought that was the worst she would have to face, which would have been manageable. Then came the 3-hour magic session. She works on her casting speed, the accuracy of her fireballs, along with the strength and speed behind them, and her control of her magic. At the end, while not terribly physically draining, she is drained magically. It will take her an entire night to regain it. Still, she might want to pass out, but at least it's done, right? No. Her sensei, giving her a clone, which she thinks is the most OP power ever if what he described what they can do is accurate, makes her spar against it in taijutsu. She has never fought nor practiced in hand-to-hand combat in her life. Needless to say, she got thrashed and without magic she couldn't regenerate her wounds. Her clothes became tattered and her modesty was gone. She shrieked and tried to cover herself. The clone then sat her down and gave her a lecture about how modesty is the last thing to worry about in a fight to the death. Then clone even said she has the worst taijutsu he has ever seen. That certainly knocked down her ego. He then spent the next hour going over academy-level katas with her and she had to constantly punch and kick wood logs. Each hit made her wince in pain. By the end, she was a mass of bruises, showed a lot of skin, and had a terribly hurt ego from the first day. She had cried a total of 15 times that day and nearly quit, but she was going to show her savior that she could do it. When she came back to their camp, she sees Vali as a mess of bruises as well, which makes her feel a little better as she isn't the only one that got their ass kicked. She asked what was for dinner and Naruto-sensei chuckled and threw a kunai at her feet. He told her whatever she killed. How the hell was she supposed to find something in this god-forsaken forest to eat? Grumbling under her breath about how a lady shouldn't have to hunt her own food, Revel picks up the kunai and trudges out to the forest, a new clone following her. She spends an hour out in the forest, looking for some sign of an animal, all the while complaining loudly about how ladies shouldn't have to do this. Tired and not finding a single animal, she makes her way back to the camp to fall asleep. When she gets back, she sees both Vali and Naruto-sensei eating a couple of rabbits. She grumbles about how unfair it is that they treat a lady like this, causing both to laugh. She walks into their shared tent, something she is thankful for that she didn't have to set up, crawls into a sleeping bag and falls asleep cold, tired, in pain, and hungry. It took every single ounce of willpower to not give up. If it was anyone else other than her savior, she would have, she had no doubt of that. Luckily, her sensei would provide breakfast and lunch so she didn't completely starve, but she still hasn't caught a single thing for dinner. She has gotten to know Naruto-sensei and Vali a little better during the past week. She learned why Naruto ran away from Mao Leviathan, how Vali and he met, and some stories of Naruto's past that always captivates her attention. She hasn't heard of most of the places he speaks of though. She also tells them a bit about the Fenix clan and herself. After lunch on the 8th day, when Naruto goes to use the restroom, Vali faces her, giving her a serious look. She instantly straightens herself as she hasn't really had the opportunity to speak to Vali one-on-one yet. Listen Revel, other than your uppity attitude, you aren't that bad, so I am going to give you a warning. Sensei is mine. He has been mine and he always will mine first. So long as you understand that we will get along just fine, Vali warns her. You love him? Revel asks with a raised eyebrow. Vali nods her head. I have no idea as to your emotions toward him, but know he is mine and I will do anything to protect that, she growls out. Revel is surprised at just how territorial Vali is acting over Naruto-sensei. Still, she doesn't want to fight over this, especially when her feelings aren't like Vali's. She only has a bit of a crush on him after all. Okay Vali, I am not going to try and take him away from you, Revel says with a nod. Vali gets a smile on her face in response. Good, she states as she gets up and stretches. Oi you two, let's get started on our magic practice already, Naruto calls out to them as he walks back to camp. Revel releases a slight groan, but pulls herself up off the log she was sitting on. XXX. Naruto has been pleasantly surprised by Revel's determination the past week. Having never trained in her life and doing this hell regiment along with the conditions, she should have dropped out. Hell, Naruto expected her to. This isn't how normal people train, but her determination to get strong is real and he can shape her into being a powerhouse given enough time. That regeneration skill is insane. As long as she has enough magic, any damage she takes doesn't matter. Of course, she still feels the pain, but she can't die. Unless it is holy or light-based weapons, but still a huge advantage. It also will help in her training as Naruto can be more brutal, making her learn faster, and won't cause her permanent harm. Operation. Remove stick from her ass is also going along well. He has pretty much destroyed any and all notion of a Fenix being unbeatable and immortal in her mind. He has shown her how poor her magic skills are and how his wind affinity actually outclasses her own. Her non-existent taijutsu skills made her get her ass kicked by him and she has started getting used to pain, repetition, and hard work. She still complains about how a lady shouldn't have to do certain things, but the complaints are coming less and less often. It seems she knows that no one is going to help her and he and Vali are just going to laugh. Vali's own training is going well. Her daily ass kicking from him is making her improve faster and faster. The afternoon training where he has his clones attack her with a variety of abilities and power levels is really honing her battle instincts. His own is going well as his clones keep chugging away. Kenjutsu practice, water nature manipulation first stage, water jutsu practice, chakra control, and his clones working on collaboration jutsus between fire and wind jutsu. He cackled darkly the first time he practiced those. He personally is working on sign speed, ice magic, and one of the signature moves of the Goken, the opening of the gates. So far, he has gotten one to open and the power boost was incredible. He eventually wants to get all 7, but that is going to take a long time. Does he need them? No, but it's badass. Shaking himself out of his thoughts, he looks at his 2 students with a smile. Vali-chan, you can do whatever you want, he says, and she nods her head. She almost always does her own thing for magic practice as Naruto can't really teach her anything. Fortunately, the textbooks from Azazel they received long ago still have plenty of material for her to improve on. Revel-chan, I want you to start controlling your attacks after you already released them. Force them to curve and move around how you want. This will help you with your magic control. The further away you can control your magic, the better your control will be. It's easier to control attacks with smaller magic in them, Naruto tells her. She nods her head and creates a small fireball in her hand. She can have it curve slightly in the first 5 feet before it loses it. Alright, continue with that. I will be over there working on my ice magic, Naruto says. Naruto decided to learn ice magic second primarily for one reason, to honor Haku. She was the one who gave him an ideal to live for right when he really needed it most, so this is his way to remember her. It also helps that it is cool. He focuses as he creates a magic circle, sending several icicles out at his target. He nods his head and sets to work, determined to get proficient in it. Revel quietly stalks her prey, trying her hardest to not let it notice her. She gets within 20 yards of it, standing downwind so that it won't smell her. In her hand is the kunai that Naruto threw at her feet the very first night they arrived here. It honestly feels like a lifetime ago to her. She is definitely not the same scared little Ojoyu-sama that entered this forest. Her hair is wild, tangled and hasn't been taken care of for weeks. Under her fingernails is her blood with some dirt mixed in. Her body is bruised and clothes are tattered. She cares not a whit for any of these things as she hungrily eyes the white rabbit in front of her. This is her first time actually finding an animal that she could eat for dinner. She broken down 3 days ago and asked Naruto-sensei for lessons on hunting. He burst out laughing, which made her look down in shame, before he praised her, confusing her. He told her that he made her do this as he was trying to break her stubborn pride and to ask for help with something she has no clue how to do. She flushed in shame, but after 2 nights of the basics, 1 night of finding nothing, she finally finds her dinner. How am I going to kill it? Revel thinks to herself. She can already imagine the rabbit being roasted over the campfire, causing her to drool. She wipes it from her cracked lips quickly and focuses on the task at hand. She looks down at the kunai and briefly considers throwing it, till she realizes that the odds of her actually hitting it are pretty much 0. Vali also doesn't have any skill in kunai, so how does she kill them? Vali and her have actually bonded over this trip as they each talk about the torture Naruto-sensei put them through that day. She would actually call the 14-year-old one of her few friends and the only one that understands how much of a sadist Naruto-sensei can be. As long as Revel doesn't encroach on her claim of Naruto-sensei, everything between them is fine. She actually even told Revel she was descended from Lucifer himself. Boy, was she surprised. She told her to keep it a secret from devils and Revel will gladly do so. There is no reason why anyone needs to know that anyway. Vali can probably catch them with her speed, Revel thinks bitterly. With the seal Naruto-sensei drew on her a couple days ago, there is no way she could do that. Talk about an awkward scenario with her having to strip right in front of Naruto. Vali watched her like a hawk during the whole thing too. Still, her views of modesty, at least around these two, have diminished greatly. Think Revel think. She berates herself as she watches the rabbit hop a couple yards further away. She can't burn it, she doesn't know any earth spells to trap it, but she can electrocute it. She learned a very basic thunder spell from Vali that can shock things. Then she can kill it with the kunai. Channeling the tiny bit of magic she has left, she sends a small bolt of lightning at the bunny, causes it to squeal in pain and freeze up. She quickly runs over as fast as she can, pounces on it to not let it get away, and stabs it in the chest. Finally, she yells loudly for all the heavens to hear. She couldn't give a shit about the small voice of her mother in the back of her head, berating her for yelling as a lady shouldn't yell. She will get to eat tonight. She trudges through the snow, something she doesn't even notice anymore, nor the cold, as the past 4 weeks have numbed her to it. If she was a human, she would have died to hypothermia long ago, but her devil body is much more resilient. After 10 minutes, she sees Naruto-sensei and Vali just starting to roast their rabbits as well. She grins victoriously and gives them the victory sign as she holds up her own catch. Naruto gives her a thumbs up and even Vali gives her a small smile. "Great job, Revel-chan. Now you have to skin it and get rid of the guts," Naruto says with a cheeky grin. Revel groans and then scrounges up her face in confusion. "How am I supposed to do that?" she questions. Naruto shrugs his shoulders and she narrows her eyes at him, before they widen in understanding. "Naruto-sensei, can you teach me how to skin and gut a rabbit?" she asks. Naruto gives her a grin for understanding the appropriate thing to do. "Sure thing, Revel-chan," he says as he explains what to do to her. She carefully follows his step-by-step instructions, not even fazed by using her hand to remove the guts, as all she can think about is how good the rabbit is going to taste. "There you go. Now just roast it over the fire and remember, a little overcooked is much better than under. You can get diseases if you undercook it," he says as he rubs her head. She blushes under getting a head rub from Naruto-sensei. He only does that when he is proud of her and she really likes it. It also makes her proud in herself for doing something praiseworthy. Vali narrows her eyes slightly, but doesn't do anything. Revel is her friend and they already discussed who Sensei belongs to. Still, she wishes it was her getting the head rub. "Well, my 2 amazing disciples, I am proud of you for what each of you have accomplished these past 4 weeks. Honestly, Revel-chan, I didn't think you were going to make it, but you surprised me. Your stubbornness may have cost your stomach some food, but it kept you in these freezing conditions with us, and that's commendable. You are a cut above the rest your age, just like Vali-chan," Naruto says, giving them both a proud smile. They both preen under his praise and nod to each other. Only they would know what it is like to experience a hell month with Naruto-sensei. "Revel-chan, you are going to go home for 2 days to see your family, as that's important, but then I want you to come live with us for a while. We can't let you stay there long, lest you revert back," Naruto says with a laugh while Vali chuckles as well. Revel shakes her head as she definitely doesn't think she could ever go back to the naive little girl she was before. They eat their meat, making small talk amongst themselves before they finally call it a night. They retire to the tent and climb in their respective sleeping bags, each fall asleep thinking of the future ahead. The morning comes and Revel wakes up when Vali shakes her. She grunts her thanks, too tired to talk, as she gets out of her sleeping bag. She searches through her suitcases, looking for some type of clothing that is wearable. She grabs a shirt that is the least ripped, with only a gash on the right side, and a pair of warm leggings that have various small cuts in them. She quickly slips on some socks and her boots while looking down at her various suitcases, full of torn clothing and other things she has no need of anymore. She drags it all outside, puts it in a pile, and sends a large fireball at it, destroying all of it. "Everything okay?" Naruto asks as he comes back from the forest, obviously having just used the restroom. "I just don't need any of that anymore. It's all ruined anyway," Revel says with a shrug. "Yeah, we have to get you some proper training clothes and I will put on some resistance seals on them that will help them not wear out as fast," Naruto says as he yawns. "It doesn't help when you cut them," Vali deadpans him. "Then dodge. Besides, Revel-chan just has the fortunate benefit of healing from the cuts so long as she has magic, so I can be a little more brutal," Naruto says with a smile. Revel shudders as she thinks about the pain she had to endure and instantly curses her genes. They are a liability when Naruto tortures her. "Well, Revel-chan, you can get going. We can finish up here. I am sure your family is eager to see you. Before you go, give me another one of those magic summon papers so I can summon you in 2 days' time," Naruto says. She summons one of the slips and gives it to him. Naruto instantly pulls her into a hug, much to her embarrassment, but she returns it full force. He lets go of her after several seconds and she pulls away. She sees Vali standing next to him and she then gives Revel a hug too, though it's a little awkward as she has never hugged anyone else except her sensei and her mom. Thank you, Naruto-sensei, Vali, for everything this month. See you both soon, Revel says with a wave as she activates a teleportation circle underneath her. Revel appears in front of her family's mansion in the underworld with conflicted emotions. Happy to be back home and see her family, but sad to leave them, even if it is only for 2 days. She pushes the door in and walks into her house and sees a maid who looks like she was waiting for her. Revel gives her a smile, but the maid gives her a horrified look before running off. Revel is slightly confused as she knows her clothes are bad, but not enough to warrant that reaction. Shrugging, Revel makes her way to the dining room to get food as she hasn't had a good meal for the past month. She will make sure to never take for granted their chef's cooking again. As she walks calmly down the hall, other maids are looking at her with horrified expressions, but she ignores them. Food is easily the most important thing to her right now. At the end of the hall, she sees her Okawa-sama come out of the dining room with a slightly frantic expression on her face. Revel sees her and waves a greeting with a smile. She is too tired and hungry to talk. Revel! Her mom shrieks before she basically teleports right in front of her, looking at her worriedly. What happened to you? Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Ah, Okawa-sama, Revel says annoyed as bats her hands off of her. Why are you freaking out? I know my clothes are ripped, but I didn't have any more non-torn ones left. But your hair, nails, skin, what the hell did you do for training? Lady Fenix asks as she continues to stare at her daughter. The maids listen on curious as no one really knew where Revel was except Lord and Lady Fenix. URK, can I tell you while we eat? I haven't had a decent meal in a month, Revel pleads. She now realizes why her mom is so concerned. She honestly hadn't given them any thought the last 2 weeks. Her mother frowns but nods her head. She grips Revel's hand hard, as if she is going to disappear otherwise. Revel allows herself to be led, not having the energy to complain. Quickly get Revel all of her favorites. Layla tells one of the maids in the dining room, who quickly goes into kitchen. Layla has her sit down next to her and she gives her daughter a sharp stare. Start explaining now, she demands. Okawa-sama, nothing bad happened other than the torture that was called training. We camped out in northern Canada for the entire month and trained, Revel says waving away most of her mother's biggest concerns. He did exactly as Vali told you he would. He destroyed and rebuilt me. The non-stop training, the constant taijutsu beat-downs, and his verbal lashing of my magical skills destroyed my overinflated ego and taught me several harsh truths. That I am weak, unskilled, and that our clan traits are nothing special. That I couldn't survive on my own and my pride cost me many meals when I could have asked for help. That almost all my concerns before don't matter in the slightest. He pulled the stick out of my ass and burnt it. He then started beating into me, literally, an extremely solid foundation of skills that I can rely and build on, Revel explains seriously as her mother listens on intently. Her mother is equal parts horrified and proud. Horrified that her daughter had to go through such an experience, and proud that she came out of it much better off. She can tell her daughter has fundamentally changed. She has a look of confidence in her eyes that she didn't have before. Honestly, it really was a hell month. Yet, I wouldn't trade it for the world. The friendship I made with the both of them around the campfire during meals is more real than any other I have. The laughs I had with them as Naruto-sensei told stories of his childhood pranks and adventures were loud, free, and true. It will be something I remember forever. I can't wait to do it again, Revel says with a wistful sigh. She has already romanticized it in her mind. Lady Fenix gets a happy smile on her face and gives Revel a big hug. It seems her daughter is going to do just fine, even thrive, studying under Uzumaki Naruto. The maid comes back out of the kitchen, her hands full with a plate of pancakes, strawberries, and a plate of bacon. She places it in front of Revel, whose eyes glitter in excitement and happiness. She dives into it with wild abandon, not caring about proper manners or who is watching at all. Lady Fenix's eyebrows raise dramatically as she watches her daughter tear into the food in front of her. They get even higher as she sees tears falling down her daughter's face. What is it, dear? This food, it's so good and filling. I ate things that I would hesitate to call food for a month. I never ate dinner because I couldn't hunt. Finally, last night I killed, skinned, and gutted my first rabbit and it tasted glorious. That had nothing on this. I will never take our food here for granted again, Revel says profusely. Lady Fenix is shocked that Revel learned how to hunt and clean a rabbit. She has no idea how to do that. Revel, she hears her husband yell as he coming running through the door. Revel doesn't even notice, too engrossed in eating her food to hear her father's shout. Seeing her state as well as the way she is ravenously eating the food, his eyes swing toward Layla, who gives him a smile and mouths she's fine at him, causing him to relax. Then he raises an eyebrow wanting to know what happened to his daughter. Later, she says to her husband, who grimaces and nods her head. He trusts his wife to tell him everything he wants to know. Revel looks up after she finishes her food and finally notices her dad. Hi Oto-sama, don't worry, I am completely fine. Didn't mean to scare everyone with my appearance. I am going to go take a proper bath now, Revel says as she gets up from the table. Every morsel is off the plate, whereas normally she will eat half that amount of food. I think I will join you, Lady Fenix says as she gets up too. She wants to continue to hear about this training trip her daughter went on. Revel walks on ahead as Layla stops to talk to her husband. Don't worry, nothing bad happened to her at all, despite her clothes and state. In fact, I think we owe Uzumaki Naruto a great debt. She isn't just doing well under him, she is thriving, she says to the shock of her husband. Are you sure? He questions. Yeah, I am. You will see it later when you look closely into her eyes. Also announce to the staff that nothing bad happened to her, Layla says before walking after her daughter. Revan just sighs and sits at the breakfast table, his mind on his daughter as he waves over a maid to start spreading the word. As soon as Revel gets into her room, again ignoring the stares of the staff, she strips off her clothes and walks to the bathroom. She hears someone enter behind her and sees it's her mother. Revel turns on the bath, which is large enough for several people, and walks to her shower. Lady Fenix is a little surprised at how immodest her daughter is being, as she never was that way in the past. She also sees a tattoo, a spiral with a 1 in the center, right above her heart. Revel? Her mother questions as she starts undressing herself. What is it, Okawa-sama? Revel asks with a cute head tilt. Why do you have a tattoo? You also seem much less concerned about your state of dress, Lady Fenix asks. That is because Naruto-sensei drilled into my head the stupidity about worrying about one's modesty while in a life-and-death fight. That distraction could prove fatal. He provided several examples. I guess it just extended outside training a bit too, Revel says with a shrug. For the tattoo, it is actually a resistance seal that Naruto-sensei put on me. You can't see the lines, but it extends all across my body. It acts as weight, making it harder for me to move. The only problem is that it is chakra-based, so he is the only one that can unseal it. He is trying to make a magic one so that I and Vali can activate and deactivate it at will, she explains. He didn't do anything untoward you when he painted it, right? She questions sternly. Okawa-sama, no, he would never do such a thing, Revel says indignantly. Sorry sweetie, I just had to make sure. I don't know him after all, she says with a disarming smile. Revel steps into the shower and relishes the feeling of hot water running down her body. She starts vigorously washing her skin with a loofah to get rid of the dirt, while her mother steps in to help her out. After around 10 minutes of scrubbing, her skin has regained a normal clean hue while her hair looks fine. The mother-daughter duo then step into the bath and Revel sighs in relief at the feeling. She had honestly forgotten how good it felt. So, do you have a crush on Naruto Dono? Lady Fenix asks bluntly. Revel's face blushes up in embarrassment at the direct question. Hi Okawa-sama, she admits quietly, getting a large smile out of her mom. He is very handsome and powerful. Not to mention he is only 5 years older than you. Layla gushes, getting Revel to blush even further. Now, for the underworld, which has many arranged marriages, a 5-year difference for two people is nothing. Some can even have a couple 100-year difference. For example, Riser is already 38, while his bride-to-be is 15. Why yes, but it doesn't matter, Revel says sadly. Layla's grin turns to a frown. Why's that sweetie? Because Vali is in love with him. To the point where she is extremely possessive of him. A week into the camp, she warned me to not take him away from her. If I didn't try to, she had no problem with me, Revel tells her mom. Revel, I highly doubt that a powerful man like Naruto will only have one wife. If you still have this crush years later and it turns into love, I am sure you can be with him, Layla reassures her. Besides, it's not like Vali has confessed her feelings toward him and they are in a relationship, right? Getting a shake of a head in response. Then you can try to win his affections for yourself. Revel cringes slightly at that thought. That would mean declaring war on Vali and that could become deadly. Her mom didn't see the look in her eyes when she declared Naruto-sensei was hers. It was unnerving to say the least. Heir may be Okawa-sama. Vali can be scary, she says. Then join forces with her to conquer Naruto-san's heart. Otherwise, you will be left out, Layla says with a shrug. Of course, make sure you fall in love with him and it's not just a transient crush. Enough of this talk, Okawa-sama. Revel whines, getting a chuckle from her mom. Fine, Revel. Why don't you go more in detail about what you did? Like how was the first day? She asks. Revel pales as she remembers that day and she begins to tell her everything. Vali looks down at Revel's panting form, herself struggling to stay on her feet. It's been 7 months since Revel has started living with them. In that time, they have traveled several times, most notably to the Sumerian pantheon. Those gods were actually happy someone came and visited them as their pantheon has faded from relevance on grand-scale politics a long time ago. She wasn't so happy as Naruto ended up having with 2 different goddesses, Ishtar and Ereshkigal. It actually caused quite the controversy as they are bitter rivals. Ereshkigal, however, is much stronger and so with a show of might, forced Ishtar to back off. Naruto, of course, wasn't aware this happened. He was aware, however, when Ereshkigal declared him king consort of the Sumerian underworld in front of everyone one night when she was drunk. Naruto and his 2 students quickly thanked them for their hospitality and ran. Revel had to calm Vali down several times from trying to fight the goddesses he slept with. Even with her gaining strength, she isn't enough to take on goddesses yet. Come on you two, let's see some better teamwork. Naruto stands there with a light sheen of sweat on his skin. They both pull themselves up and nod at each other. Over the past several months, the 2 of them have grown to become best friends. Neither of them have a secret from the other, including Revel's feelings for Naruto. Flashback. Vali lays down on her bed getting ready to sleep. Her sensei is in his bedroom with Freya. The silencing seals on his bedroom prevent her from hearing them fuck. It may be a little lewd, but if her sensei is going to have, she prefers to hear it and imagine herself getting fucked. A knock at her door interrupts her thoughts of sensei pounding her into submission. Scowling, she gets up and opens it, only to see Revel wearing her pajamas. What? She says a little irritated. Revel ignores the tone in her voice as she knows it really isn't directed at her. Can we talk? I have to tell you something, Revel states as she looks Vali in the eye. Vali nods her head and lets Revel in. Vali struts back to her bed in lingerie as her well-developed body is looked on enviously by Revel. What is it, Revel? Vali asks. She doesn't mind her friend coming to talk to her at night. It's just that bitch is over trying to take her sensei away and it puts her in a fool mood. Especially since she can't hear them. Well, it's about Naruto sensei, Revel says as she squirms a bit under the scrutinizing gaze of Vali. What about him? She says with a dangerous edge to her voice. Listen, I know Naruto sensei's is yours first. I get that. It's just I think I am falling for him too, Revel says giving her a soft smile. You are my friend Vali. My closest if I am being honest. I don't want this to ruin our friendship. I talked about this a while ago with my Okawa-sama. Can we share him? She pleads. Vali gets a little angered by the suggestion. Share sensei? He is hers, and her friend is asking her to share? Hatchling, don't let your greed get the better of you. You know that Naruto is powerful and they attract others. The idea that you will share him is pretty much guaranteed. At least your friend is coming to you and being upfront about her intentions and feelings, Albion advises her. Vali takes a deep breath as she thinks about Albion's words. Everything he said is true, but what if he doesn't love her back, but does love Revel? What if he leaves her? I want you to promise me 2 things. That we will share him no matter what and that I get to be married to him first, Vali says seriously. Relief shines through Revel's eyes as she grabs Vali's hand. Yes, I promise. I can easily do that. Even when Naruto sensei gets his own peerage, I will let you be queen, Revel says with a sincere tone. Sensei getting his own peerage? I am not sure that is going to happen. He abhors slavery, Vali scoffs. But if we join willingly, then it won't be slavery, right? And he can institute his own rules to make it nothing like that. Plus, this way we can live in the underworld, Revel rambles on. That's a discussion for a later time, Revel. Right now, we need to plot to get Freya away from Naruto and to get rid of those damn silencing seals. Vali says with a scowl. You like to listen to Naruto-sensei fucking other women? Revel says with her eyebrow raised and a hint of disbelief in her tone. Vali blushes as she didn't mean to voice that part out loud. Well, if he is having, I'd rather hear it, yeah. It turns me on. Is it that weird? She questions in a whisper. Well, not exactly. I mean, when I heard it that one time, so was I, Revel admits with her face nearly combusting. Can you even be turned on if you haven't hit puberty? Vali asks with a slight chuckle but also in genuine curiosity. I promise. And my Okawa-sama told me that she was a late bloomer, so I will probably be too, unlike you, Revel says as she stares at Vali's body. It's not fair that she is only a year older yet looks several. Still doesn't attract Sensei's attention, Vali says with a pout. He isn't even fazed by her in her underwear. Since he knows you're only 14, that's probably how he is going to look at you, Revel tells her. Vali sighs as that is probably the truth. Sensei is too much of a good guy. Well, thank you for accepting my feelings and sharing with me, Vali. I am going to go to bed now. I am glad to call you my best friend, Revel says as she stands up and slightly bows to her. Don't mention it. Let's just work together to capture his heart, Vali says with a wave of her hand. Revel smiles and walks out of her room. I am proud of you, hatchling. It is extremely hard for a dragon to part with any small part of their treasure, Albion praises her. It certainly is. Still, you told me Naruto is going to most likely have a harem. If so, I will be the alpha female and leader of it. It will also let me hoard as much of him as I can to myself, Vali says. Albion grunts his approval of the plan. Flashback end. Vali rushes him first. Her taijutsu is way superior than Revel's, and engages him in some fierce fight. She pulls out every trick she knows, but can't break through his defense. Still, it is keeping him occupied, as Revel rushes him, trying to create an opening for Vali. Revel starts throwing several punches and kicks, causing Naruto to rapidly give ground to the two of them to not allow a single strike to land. He still has an amused expression on his face. Revel, frustrated by their inability to hit Naruto-sensei, throws a fireball at him, forgetting it is a taijutsu-only fight. Naruto barely dodges the close-range fireball, but it gives Vali a slight opening and allows her to land a punch to his stomach. Naruto grins, but it promises pain to the two, and he quickly rushes and overwhelms them. Both end up on the ground in more pain than before. Alright, let's call it there. Revel-chan, what reason did you have using magic in a taijutsu fight? Naruto questions her scarily. I just got frustrated and wanted to hit you, Revel sheepishly says. Revel still isn't very good at taijutsu, around mid-genin level. That's what starting from nothing and not having a talent for it gets you. Plus, her body is so small that it makes it harder for her. Still, she throws everything she has at it in training, which would make a certain green spandex duo proud. Her real talent lies within her magic and strategic thinking. Good job, Naruto says, getting two incredulous looks. But sensei, you said it was just a taijutsu-only battle? Vali questions. What do I always tell you? Naruto says cheekily. Shinobi don't play fair. The two of them say with their eyes widened. Exactly. Don't expect your enemies to. Use whatever you have to in order to win. Of course, that means I will start using my magic and jutsu, Naruto says with a grin. They both groan as those spars always leave them in the worst shape, especially Revel, as Naruto doesn't pull any punches as he won't kill her as long as she has magic power. Needless to say, Revel's pain tolerance has shot through the roof. Sensei is a sadist, Vali complains as she heals some of her ribs. Here Vali, Revel says as she tosses her a Fenix tear. Vali quickly downs it and she instantly is rejuvenated. Revel takes her own and her magical reserves fill up. I still can't believe something like this exists, Naruto says as he watches them drink the tears before using it himself. It's like Sage of Six Paths chakra, but on steroids. Still, with Revel making 3 vials of tears every day, each taking her about 15 minutes, they can get in another magic training session. Naruto feels like they were taking advantage of her, but Revel insists on being helpful and doing it. As they are about to begin, a sudden rush of memories races through Naruto's mind and he grins. Change of plans, girls. We are going crow hunting. My clone in Frankfurt found a couple on the outskirts up to no good. One is 2-winged and the other is 4-winged. Revel, this will be your first kill. Neither Vali nor I will help you, and remember to avoid the light attacks as they can kill you, Naruto says seriously. Revel nods her head while her hands clench in nervousness. Naruto has been preparing her for it mentally for a couple months. Vali has also told her how her first kills happened. Sensei, that 4-winged angel is going to be too easy for me, Vali whines. She wants a good battle to test her skills, damn it. She needs at least a 6-winged fallen, which equates to a high-class level devil. The last few 4-winged ones were way too easy. This isn't for you, Vali-chan, it's for Revel-chan. This is an easy mission to blood your green students. It happened in my world all the time, Naruto says. Vali pouts, but nods her head in understanding. Besides, she doesn't want anything to happen to her best friend either. Naruto creates a quick teleportation circle and they find themselves outside a warehouse with a clone right next to him. The clone receives a mental command to guard the opposite side while Naruto creates a magical barrier, preventing low-level fallen and devils from teleporting away, which also keeps the humans away. He also undoes the restriction seals, making them each feel like a mountain has been lifted off them. Okay, go get them, girls. Naruto cheers as they sweat drop at his antics. They swear that sometimes they act older than him. Revel immediately goes on guard, trying to sense where the fallen are. Unfortunately, she takes after her mother with her regards to sensing and is pitiful at it. Vali, however, just calmly walks forward, heedless of any concern. Her slight arrogance, stemming from her brutal training and confidence in the weakness of her opponents, is something Naruto notices and takes note of in the future. He has been doing so well making her not into an Uchiha, not going to let her turn into one now. Crows, you can't run, so you might as well come out and face us. I already know where the two of you are, she yells out as she stands at the doorway of the warehouse. The darkness inside not a hindrance at all thanks to her devil genes. Several light spears are her response, which shatter when they hit her magic shield. Vali rolls her eyes at the pathetic display before she sends demonic arrows back, causing a fallen to come out of hiding. Tisk devils and pesky ones too. The 4-winged fallen scowls as he floats above them. Vali rolls her eyes in response. Yeah, well, we are trying to get this one her first kill and you so happen to be our targets. Pity for you, Vali says mockingly. She looks back at Revel. Come on, birdie. Sensei is watching, so let's get this done fast, she says. Revel rolls her eyes at her nickname and steps up next to Vali. She finally senses where the other fallen is and sends a fireball to her left, getting a yelp, and a woman comes out with anger in her eyes. Her voluptuous body that is scantily covered makes Revel a little jealous. You little bitch, you just singed my wings. The woman shouts with hate in her eyes. Revel can't help but raise an eyebrow at her voice. So, that's it, I am going to enjoy killing this prepubescent kid, she says as a green light spear forms in her hand. She races toward Revel, who releases her own fire wings and sends several small fireballs at her, testing her reactions. Geez, Cecilia, always hasty to kill. The man shakes his head while he looks at Vali, who has made no inclination to move. Aren't you going to attack me? He questions. Oh, I am. Just wanted to ask you a question first. What do you want to die by? Your choices are fire, ice, lightning, and taijutsu, Vali says with a small smirk. The arrogance of you devils is really astounding, the man says with a sneer. He creates 2 light swords in his hands. I'll choose taijutsu, he says with a smirk. Vali smirks in response. That's always my favorite choice, she responds as she dashes at the fallen. This the best you can do? Cecilia laughs with fake bravado as she continues to barely dodge the fireballs launched at her. She can't get close to the girl and the light spears she throws are merely dodged, blocked, or intercepted. Oh no, I was merely testing your reaction time, Revel says as she seriously stares down her opponent. The fireballs sent at you were slightly faster each time until I could tell you were seriously struggling to dodge them, meaning you aren't hiding any of your speed. Naruto-sensei has me hitting much faster targets than you, Revel says. She creates a large magic circle in front of her and a fire dragon comes out and quickly rushes the fallen. Cecilia looks on with wide eyes, as that is certainly much more powerful than anything she has been sending at her, and she desperately launches a dozen light spears at it, hoping to cause the dragon to explode. Unfortunately, the light spears all just shatter against it. She desperately throws herself out of the way, and glares at the young girl with murder. Revel just stares at her with a small smirk, and it's the last thing Cecilia ever sees. The fire dragon had followed her after she dodged and consumed her. Revel looks around and sees Vali still battling the four-winged fallen. Vali notices that Revel has finished up her fight and sighs. "I guess it is time for me to finish up this fight too," she says out loud as the fallen across from her is breathing heavily with an arm broken and a light spear in the other. "Sorry for toying with you, but I was bored," Vali says as she then moves too fast for the fallen to see. He lashes out wildly, hitting nothing but air, hears a faint chirping sound, and feels something pierce his chest. He looks down and sees the girl's bloodied hand where his heart should be. Vali pulls it out and lets the fallen fall to the floor dead. She then goes over to Revel, who nods her head with a hardened face at Vali. Vali lands in front of her and gives her a big hug. It was actually very easy to kill her," Revel whispers as she hugs her best friend. "Yes, it is, isn't it?" Naruto says as he appears behind them both. Can be very easy to do, yet it is one of the hardest things to reconcile yourself with afterward. That's why you should never kill without a good reason. Protecting yourself, your precious people, an idea you believe in, and ridding the world of monsters are the best reasons. My clone found out that those two had killed and tortured humans for fun. They deserved no mercy, Naruto informs her, trying to comfort her yet impart wisdom as well. "I understand, Naruto-sensei. You have been preparing me for this for months," Revel says with a nod and hugs him as well. "I know, Revel-chan, but I want to make sure you are okay with this. In the supernatural world, with monsters lurking around every corner, you have to be prepared to kill. Isn't that right?" Naruto says sharply as he looks toward the door of the warehouse. Vali and Revel both snap their attention to where their sensei is looking, obviously noticing the tone in his voice. Around the corner a man, no more than 20, appears in a butler uniform with a black trench coat over top it, and a large black dog beside him. Naruto narrows his eyes as he can tell that this man is dangerous. "I shouldn't be surprised that you sensed me. I was told you are very strong," the man says nonchalantly as he keeps his eyes on Naruto. Naruto meanwhile, deactivates his restriction seal as if it turns into a fight, he will go all out to protect his students. "Well, I am flattered. What are you doing out here in this warehouse? It isn't exactly popular," Naruto asks intently, putting his students behind him. Vali and Revel both Naruto signal them behind his back. "Strong. Retreat. If. Fight," Naruto says with his hand. Both Vali and Revel know this man is vastly out of their level if Naruto wants them to retreat. "I am here if you need me, partner," Albion reassures Vali. "Ah well, I was ordered to kill some fallen angels that were hiding out here. In fact, someone has been killing all the fallen angels and strays in Europe that I have been ordered to kill. It really was confusing me, but I guess it was you and your students. I suppose I should thank you, but you don't exactly have the authority to kill them," the man says challengingly while the black dog growls. "I don't exactly need authority to prevent atrocities from happening. Besides, my students needed life and death experiences in order to grow," Naruto responds calmly. "Well, I don't have orders to kill you yet, and I have a feeling that if we fight there will be a lot of collateral damage to the area, so I am just going to go for tonight. See you around Uzumaki, Naruto," the man says as he walks away, the dog in tow. Naruto breathes a small sigh of relief at the crisis averted. He has complete confidence that he could kill that man, but with his students here he didn't want to fight. "Sensei, who was that?" Vali asks as she sees his shoulders slightly relax. "I am not sure, Vali-chan, but he was strong. Human with a sacred gear too. Definitely above what either of you two could handle right now. I didn't want to fight him with the two of you here as that could have made it a lot more complicated," Naruto says honestly. "You would have won, right?" Vali questions with a little urgency. "I definitely would have won," Naruto says with a wink, getting her to relax. "And here I thought something interesting was finally going to happen," Kurama grumbles. "He woke up for nothing. I am sure something will happen soon, Naruto reassures his friend. Well, you two, we can worry about that later. Let's go home and get something to eat, Naruto says cheerfully, trying to lighten the mood. Both girls smile up at him and nod their heads. Both, however, are thinking the same thing. I don't want to be a hindrance to Naruto-sensei again. 4x. The past month Naruto has noticed a marked difference in the way both of his students have been throwing themselves at their training with more determination ever since that man with the dog showed up. He hasn't done anything to correct them either, as he thinks it is honestly a good thing. They realized where they are in the food chain and it isn't that high. Those moments in his life helped him out dramatically. He watches as Revel and Vali spar as they have been doing for several weeks now. It isn't a close contest, with Vali easily overpowering Revel, but there have been several times where Revel uses strategy to work Vali into a trap. Unfortunately, Vali can use brute force to get out of it and she never falls for the same trick twice. Both are very intelligent, much more so than himself. Watching Revel get knocked to the ground again in a taijutsu battle, Naruto says, "Alright, that's enough." Vali stands down as Revel shakily gets up. Naruto-sensei cough, I can keep going, Revel says. Revel-chan, I know you are dedicated to getting stronger, but it's 11 o'clock at night. You both need your sleep. You're still growing after all, Naruto says. That gets them both to stand down as they definitely don't want to hinder that. It would only make winning their sensei's heart harder. Okay, Naruto-sensei, how did I look? She asks with her head cutely tilted. Her training clothes, which consist of a tight black shirt and an orange miniskirt, similar to what Ino had, at the beginning, have been torn to shreds with her panties exposed along with her chest. She makes no move to cover herself in front of her sensei. It is one of the strategies her and Vali have concocted to try and get his attention. No effect yet. Better as always, Revel-chan. I am shocked by the growth rate you two have. I really like the way you are manipulating your fire into shapes and using them for attacks, as it is much harder than simply throwing balls of fire. Your main weakness is still speed. Vali is able to go fast enough where you can't hit her with accurate attacks and rely on AoE attacks. Not a bad strategy, but you will wear out your magic fast that way. Try to think of something else. Your clan is also known for their wind affinity, right? Naruto says, getting Revel's eyes to widen slightly, and she nods. He then turns to Vali. Vali, your use of magic was superb in countering her own, and you avoided attacks to not waste magic blocking them. Good job. You did fall for another one of Revel's strategies, however, so be a little more cautious, even when you outclass your opponent, Naruto comments. Vali grimaces as she yet again fell for her friend's trap. She is a smart little bird. Let's go bed, Naruto says, and they walk back to the house. He chuckles as Revel jumps on his back again, wanting a piggyback ride. The first time she did it, he did get slightly flustered as her clothes were in a worse shape than now, but she said she didn't care. She was actually a bit red in the face too, but that was from all the training, or so he assumed. Nay, Naruto-sensei, Revel says, her head leaning on his shoulder, can you show us that powerful wind attack you told me about? The Rasen Shuriken, or something like that. Oh, and why's that? Naruto asks curiously. Well, I guess I wanted to see if I could make it too. If that's okay, she says, a little bit embarrassed. Naruto laughs out loud, surprising the both of them. I have always wanted to pass on my techniques, and who better to than my precious students. You may even be able to upgrade it like I did, Naruto says with a smile. He holds out his hand and in it appears a ball of swirling blue energy. Both of his students have seen him use this technique before and now of the deadliness it holds. As you both know, this is the Rasengan. What I don't think I have told you is that it was created by my dad, who taught his teacher Ero Sennin, who later taught me. It was extremely hard to learn, yet the most satisfying thing ever when I did. The look on Ba-chan's face was priceless. Now this is pure shape manipulation for chakra in its highest form. My dad and Ero Sennin tried adding nature manipulation to it, but neither of them could. I did. It was the first jutsu that I made myself, if you don't count the Waijutsu. Both of you take a couple steps back, as this is a one-hit kill technique. Well, it was in my world, not too sure about this one, Naruto says with a fond grin. Both girls do as advised, Revel with excitement and Vali with a smirk as she has seen it before. He adds wind to it, making it produce a loud screeching sound. He jumps up high and chucks it at a tree 100 yards away. The attack takes less than a second to reach it. Revel watches as it hits the tree and expands into a huge sphere, easily 70 yards in diameter, everything in it being shredded into dust, not even the ground escaping. As it fades, Revel turns to her sensei, silently asking what she saw. In that sphere was billions and billions of tiny wind blades. If an enemy is hit by it, every cell in their body will be sliced apart. I actually have bigger versions, a fire one, and I am close to a water one, but they aren't necessary to show off now, Naruto says as he pats Revel's head. She is shocked at how amazing that attack is. Whoa Naruto-sensei, I have my work cut out for me. Can I make the Rasengan even without chakra? Revel asks and Naruto frowns. I actually have no idea if we can do it with devil magic. That's interesting. If so I could potentially make an ice-style one fufufu. Naruto starts chuckling darkly. Vali hits him on the arm to snap him out of it. Ahem. Naruto fake coughs, a little embarrassed by that outburst. I'll send a clone out for the supplies tomorrow morning so we can train with it in the afternoon. That would be a great trump card to have if we can, Vali says with a nod. She definitely is determined to learn her sensei's jutsu. Speaking of trump cards, I think we should start training with your sacred gear soon. On your 15th birthday, Naruto says with a nod. Vali's eyes light up with excitement. Finally, training with her Longinus. You're so lucky you have something like that. Revel says with a pout. Says the girl who is immortal. Vali shoots back, causing Revel to blush. Speaking of birthdays, Naruto-sensei, isn't yours next month? Yup, October 10th I will be 19 years old. Honestly, I feel like I am so much older, Naruto says while rubbing the back of his head. Will you come celebrate it at the Fenix manor in the underworld? Revel asks hopefully. She wants to show off her home to her sensei as well as Vali, while also seeing her family. Her mother has been begging her to come back and visit, so this will kill two birds with one stone. I don't know about that Revel-chan. I am not exactly welcome there, Naruto says with an awkward smile. Sensei, I think we should. It will be fun and I am sure Revel and her family will take the necessary steps to make sure things go fine. Vali says in support of Revel. Fine. I guess it couldn't hurt, Naruto concedes getting a happy smile from Revel. Now let's seriously get to bed. I am exhausted. Hopefully tomorrow one of my clones finds a stray for us to deal with to break up the monotony of our training routine. Naruto says as they walk the final little stretch by to their house. They each head straight to their rooms after saying good night to each other. Naruto, after a quick shower, hops in bed and instantly falls asleep. Ring ring. Naruto wakes up to the buzzing of his phone. On the screen he sees that it is 3 a.m. and he is immediately annoyed. Who the hell would call him at a time like this? Answering he says, hello? Oi Naruto, it's Azazel. I was catching up on paperwork and I came across a report from one of my subordinates. He said that you were hunting fallen angels and strays in Europe, is that true? Yeah? Don't worry, I made sure they were all terrible people before I killed them. That dog guy was one of yours? Yeah, he is. Listen Naruto, you seem like a nice guy and are more importantly the author of my favorite novel series, so I am going to let all that slide with just a warning. Don't kill any more fallen, Azazel says seriously. Make sure they don't do anything bad, like murdering and raping, and I won't. Easy solution, Naruto says with an eye roll. He can't turn a blind eye to it when he sees it happen. I am serious Naruto. You don't have the right. And you don't have the authority to tell me what to do. You may have 2 favors from me, but I will not stand by and let such a thing happen when I see it. Don't make me have to label you as an enemy Naruto. I don't want to, but as the governor of the Gregori I will if you don't stop what you are doing right now. Go ahead Azazel, but I will give you 2 warnings. Anyone you send after me will die. But if you send anyone after one of my students, I will wipe out the Gregori. Mark my words, Naruto growls out. Listen, why don't we take a step back huh? How about I give you missions from the Gregori to either capture or kill rogue fallen? Like an independent contractor. This way everyone can be happy, Azazel states calmly. The blonde didn't sound like he was lying when he said he would wipe out the Gregori, and Azazel doesn't want to take a chance with a powerful unknown. Plus, he wouldn't get pre-releases of the Icha Icha novels anymore. Icha Icha. Beyond Death is coming out soon too. You're right, sorry. Yes, I can do that as long as we get paid. You can send the details over text and I'll respond if I will take it, Naruto says. Alright, still got those 2 favors, right? Yeah, Aro Tenchi, though if you call me in the middle of the night again not asking for one, you will have to use one to prevent me from kicking your ass, Naruto grumbles and hangs up to Azazel's laughter. He lays back in bed and lets his dreams take him. Alright you two, watch closely, Naruto says as he holds out his hand, which is holding a balloon full of water. The balloon suddenly is being stretched out at many different points until it pops. Making the balloon pop like that using the water is the first step to mastering the Rasengan. I won't give you any help in figuring out how to do it, because I didn't receive any either, Naruto says with a cheekily grin, causing the two to pout. I am honestly not sure if this will work with demonic magic, but we can try it, Naruto says and hands them their balloons. Revel and Vali take them each getting a competitive glint in their eye as they look at each other. Each want to show Naruto that they are the best student. The 3 of them sit around in a loose circle, each trying their hardest to pop the balloon. It only takes Naruto 15 minutes before he is able to pop it, getting a wide smile on his face. Devil magic is based on the imagination, so since he knows exactly what the process is and how to do it, it is pretty easy. He pulls out a rubber ball for himself and starts the second part. Another 15 minutes later, he is able to completely pop the rubber ball. He went through several that popped on one side, but again he managed to do it fairly easy. Meanwhile, Vali and Revel are becoming frustrated that they can't pop a stupid balloon when their sensei has already moved on to the last stage. They both redouble their efforts and pour even more magic into their balloons to no avail. The final stage, forming in within a balloon without breaking it, takes Naruto about an hour to complete, but he finally does it. He creates the demonic Rasengan and is absolutely giddy about it being orange. Yata, I did it within 2 hours, he yells as he jumps up in excitement. He gets 2 glares from his students, but he just winks at them. He goes over to a tree and uses it, destroying the tree to test it out. It seems it's the same results as the fire magic. The control is easier, but it takes more magic compared to chakra to make and it is slightly weaker. Ah well, I will just pump more magic into it, Naruto thinks to himself. He looks at his 2 students with a victorious grin. Don't feel bad, I already know how to do it after all. Until you 2 master the Rasengan, this will be all that you are doing and you aren't allowed into the house either. Think of it as incentive. Hope you remember how to hunt Revel-chan. Come get me for instructions on the next step. Also, no helping the other. This is meant for you to learn it yourself. It will mean more that way. See you soon, Naruto says before he shunshuns away. I am going to win, Vali and Revel says to each other with a glare, before chuckling and focusing in on their respective balloons. 4x. Freya is confused. Her darling is in the kitchen making food for the 2 of them, as he often does, but his 2 students that always hang off of him aren't there as well. She dislikes the silver-haired girl who constantly takes shots at her, trying to make her look bad to Naruto. She supposes that they are warranted, however, as she did try to take him away from her. The Fenix girl, Revel if she remembers correctly, is much more pleasant as she always treats her with respect. Darling, where are your 2 students? They are usually inseparable from you. Freya asks with a tilt of her head as he enters the room with their food. They're trying to complete one of my signature attacks and aren't allowed in the house, nor will I teach them anything else until they do so, Naruto says with a grin. It's been 2 days so far and neither has gotten it. I have watched them struggle, curse me, and do other things to take their mind off of the problem, but they haven't gotten it yet. Freya raises an eyebrow. What's this attack that they are working so hard for? Naruto shows her a blue swirling sphere in his hand. This is the Rasengan, something my dad created. His teacher taught it to me and I am now trying to teach them. This one is made using my chakra, while this one, he says holding his other hand open and an orange Rasengan appears, is my demonic Rasengan. This is the one they're trying to create. Freya frowns. Is that it? I mean it doesn't feel that strong, she says. Oi, that's because you are a big shot high-level goddess. It probably won't do much to you. This is just the first stage of the attack. The stronger versions would most assuredly hurt, if not kill you, Naruto says seriously. Freya's eyes widen. This little sphere's stronger versions can kill her? I guess there is more to this than it looks, she thinks to herself as Naruto lets the energy disperse. They make small talk with Naruto telling her what he is working on, his conversation with Azazel, and a story or two. She in return tells him of her realm in Yggdrasil and how she is trying to get more time off from her godly duties. Soon they finish the meal and Naruto starts clearing the table. You know Fei-chan? This was really nice. Usually you just come over for and then leave, but I enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do something like it again in the future. Naruto says, giving her the warmest smile she has ever received from him. Freya is a little shocked. Her darling liked this type of thing? He seems much more interested in something like this than just. But isn't the fastest way to get a man to fall in love with you? What does he really think about her and their relationship? No, Naruto-kun. Freya says, getting a questioning hum from the blonde. What do you exactly think we are? And what do you think about me? Naruto furrows his brow as he looks back at her from the kitchen as he does the dishes. What are we? Well, I think we are like friends with benefits or fuck buddies if you want to use the colloquial terms. As for you? Well, I think you are a very whimsical and beautiful goddess. I don't really know you all that well though, just rumors and your legends from Norse mythology, he says as he raises an eyebrow. Why do you ask? Freya felt like she just received a punch in the gut from Thor himself. Fuck buddies? That's what he thought this was? She wanted to scream curses to the All-Father right now. Freya thought back to all her past experiences with the blonde and they indeed revolve around them having. He would always tell her a little about himself, whether through a story or his general outlook on life, but she never did the same. She did indeed leave soon after, usually to go back to Yggdrasil. She also had never had sat down and just spent time with him alone like she just did. It was always in the company of his students and she would seduce him to the bedroom straight away. Had they actually ever been on a date? Actually, when was the last time she was ever on a date? She can't remember. All she can remember is being in bed with whoever catches her interest. Freya? Naruto asks, a little concern in his tone. He can feel a lot of sadness coming from her. She snaps out of her thoughts and gives Naruto a fake smile. Oh, sorry darling. It seems I was spaced out there for a moment. Actually, I think I am going to leave for the night now. Sorry, she says in her usual tone, but Naruto can tell she is still feeling sad. Are you okay? He asks, getting a nod of her head. You sure? He asks again, not believing her. Yup. Again, sorry for leaving so early without, well you know. Freya says, trailing off at the end. Don't be. I enjoyed myself. Take care, Naruto says with a friendly smile. Freya walks out of the house and teleports herself back to Yggdrasil. She has a lot of thinking to do. I am half surprised that you didn't force her to stay until she told you her problem, Kurama scoffs. The me when I was 16? Yeah, I would have. Being here in this dimension, turning into a devil, and teaching my precious students has changed me. If people I know ask for help, I will gladly give it, but I can't always solve their problems. Besides, why should I have to anyway? It's not my responsibility. Maybe it's my devil side talking, but you can't help those that don't help themselves, Naruto responds. Wow kid, you actually matured. Congratulations, Kurama huffs out. Shut up you stupid fox. What are you even doing up anyway? Well, I was going to watch you fuck that beautiful goddess, but since that isn't happening I am going to sleep again, Kurama says, and he curls up into a ball. You perverted fuzzball. Naruto yells in his mind and cuts the connection. Why is he always surrounded by perverts? Does Kami-sama enjoy messing with him? The door swinging open and the pitter-patter of feet running interrupts his thoughts. Naruto-sensei. Revel yells as she tackles him in a hug. I did it. Naruto looks down at his student, who looks pretty dirty and her hair is messed up with some leaves and twigs in it, but otherwise okay, with a smile. Good job Revel-chan, you even beat my record of 3 days for the first step. I am very proud of you, Naruto says as he rubs her head, getting a pleased hum from the little girl. Now get out of the house. You still have 2 more steps after all, Naruto says with a teasing grin. A groan escapes from Revel's mouth, but she complies and waits by the front door. Naruto appears behind her, holding a huge bag of rubber balls. Then another behind him, and another. Let's go and get Vali for this too. This way I don't have to explain it twice, Naruto says as they walk out toward the camp her and Vali made. They find her sitting down staring at the balloon so intently Naruto half thinks it will blow up at any second. When she sees Naruto with Revel, her shoulders drop and she has a pout on her face. I am sorry this is taking me so long sensei, she states sadly. Vali-chan, it's been 2 days. It took me 3 when I first learned this. You are doing fine, Naruto assures her. He pulls out a rubber ball and places it in his hand. Now this is basically the same principle as the balloon except it's harder. You have to pop the whole thing at once, not create a hole in the side, he says as he demonstrates. The rubber ball completely bursts into tiny pieces. His clones put the 2 bags on the ground and disperse. There are plenty of rubber balls here, but if you go through them all, let me know and I will get more for you, Naruto says with a wave before he walks away. Revel grabs one of them and sets to work, intent to conquer this stage too. It's one small step closer to the man they love. So, either of you finish it yet? Naruto drawls as he looks at the forms of his students, both laying on the ground completely covered in dirt. They both give him a nasty glare that causes him to recoil and grab his heart. Those looks hurt, you know. And here I thought my 2 precious students cared about me, Naruto says sadly, but neither girl is feeling particularly forgiving. It's been 3.5 weeks and they still haven't completed it yet. No one cares, sensei, Vali says annoyed. She has barely seen her sensei in weeks. She just wants to get this over with and spend time with her sensei again. Who knows what he has gotten up to since she has been away. Actually, what have you been up to, sensei? She questions. Oh, you know, training, watching after you two, taking out a rogue fallen and then going out for a drink or two. The usual, Naruto says with a shrug. You hunted a fallen and then went out for a drink? With who? Revel asks curiously. Azazel texted me that there was a 2-winged fallen in Egypt causing a stir. I easily killed him and then I visited the Great Pyramids of Giza and went out to a bar afterwards. Turns out, there was a god there. Struck up a conversation with him and he is a pretty chill dude. We have plans to get together next Friday, Naruto says with a smile. It is good to have a male friend finally. Females are great and all, but he really wants to cut back with some guys and relax. Well, at least it isn't a goddess. Vali mutters to Revel, who nods her head. They already have enough competition regarding the blonde. So, who is the god? Revel asks. His name is Khonsu, the Egyptian god of the moon, time, and youth, Naruto says. Both are pretty surprised, but with their sensei they have learned to not be overly shocked. Anyways, Revel-chan, are we going to your house? Naruto questions. Why? We are only going on. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday, Naruto-sensei. Revel shouts and quickly hugs him. Vali is right behind her, hugging him fiercely. Happy birthday, sensei, Vali says. She pulls him down slightly, stands on her tippy toes, and plants a kiss on his cheek. Naruto blushes slightly at the unexpected kiss on the cheek, which makes Vali inordinately pleased. Revel huffs and jumps up and plants her lips quickly on his other cheek before gravity takes her down. Naruto blushes even more so. Thanks, girls. I have never had a true birthday celebration in my life, so this will be a first for me, Naruto says as he gives a light chuckle. Both girls grimace as they know Naruto's childhood was very rough for him. Beatings on his birthday for something he didn't have any control over. They don't care if he forgave them, in their mind they never will. Don't worry, Naruto-sensei, we will make it one you will never forget, Revel says determinedly. He pats her head with a chuckle. Thanks, Revel-chan. You're going to be a fine woman someday, he says with a nod of his head while her face erupts into a dark blush. Even Vali, who has been okay with her pursuing Naruto-sensei, sends her a dark glare. Don't forget, sensei. You're my sensei, and I will turn into a great woman one day soon. In fact, I would already say I am one, she says as her eyes shift down to her body, getting Naruto's eyes to unconsciously follow hers. Vali has continued to grow and honestly has the body of a 17-year-old who is fairly well physically endowed with D-cup S, a skinny waist and nice toned ass and legs from all the training that she has been going through. Her entire body is taut with power brimming under her skin. Yeah, you certainly aren't the small timid girl I rescued 2 years ago. Now you are a strong, talented, confident, beautiful and smart nearly 15-year-old girl who I am proud to call my precious student, Naruto says fondly. Vali hits him with a half-hearted punch in his arm as she blushes crimson. Naruto just laughs at her expression as he finds it amusing and cute. Since we are going to Revel's, I'll allow a special one-time exemption into the house so you can shower and look presentable. I don't want your parents to think poorly of me, Naruto says. Naruto-sensei, I went back immediately after Hell Month in a way worse condition than this. The entire mansion staff and my parents thought you did something untoward me. Rest assured I told them nothing of the sort happened, Revel deadpans. Naruto's face turns a little pale as he nervously chuckles. He doesn't need an angry Layla Fenix to kill him. Sensei would never do something like that. Vali says heatedly with a bit of anger on her face. How dare they think he did something horrible to Revel? They know now, don't worry, Revel says, calming her down slightly. Let's go get ready, Vali. I'll help you do your hair, she says as she pulls the girl along by the hand. Naruto walks after them, a fond smile on his face. Even though he isn't in his original world, he can't bring himself to be sad anymore. These two girls have given him everything he possibly needs to thrive in this world, and he wouldn't change anything. An hour later, Naruto is sitting on the couch in a silk orange button down, the top two buttons undone, with his black dress pants and shoes on as well. His blonde hair still is spiky as ever, no amount of product can change it. He hears feet coming down the steps, and finally, the girls are ready. He stands up and turns around, and his eyes widen briefly in surprise. Revel is the first one down, in a dark blue dress, matching arm sleeves, choker, shoes, and scrunches, holding her twin blonde, curled pigtails and black stockings. Truly, she looks like the epitome of a young Ojo-sama. A step behind her is Vali, who would have a lesser man die of a nosebleed. She is wearing a light silver dress that displays her ample cleavage and has a high slit up to her upper thigh on her right side. Her slightly darker silver hair flows down her back all the way to the top of her butt. She is walking in heels, not super gracefully but well enough to get by. Naruto can't help but blush at how good she looks. Wow, you two. You both look absolutely spectacular. Naruto praises, getting two pleased smiles in response. They only dressed up for him after all. Thank you, sensei. You look rather dashing yourself, Vali comments as her eyes run up and down his body. She knows that under those clothes is a body every male in the world would be jealous of. And one day, it will be hers. I agree with Vali, Naruto-sensei. Orange is truly your color, Revel says with a nod. Naruto's smile gets a little wider, and now he is blushing a bit in embarrassment. Now stop flattering me, you two. It embarrasses me, Naruto admits. Both girls' smiles get slighter bigger. Now why don't we get going? I am sure Okawa-sama has everything prepared by now, Revel says. Revel and Vali each take an arm of Naruto's, and Revel activates a teleportation circle. They appear directly in front of her mansion, and both Naruto's and Vali's jaws drop at the size of it. There are easily hundreds of rooms in this place. Wow, this is easily the biggest house I have ever seen. Nothing even comes close, Naruto says as he regains the ability to speak. He also notices how the entire yard is perfectly manicured, not a blade of grass out of place. No wonder you were a spoiled princess that had never trained before, Vali says, and Revel shoots her a glare. I am not that way anymore. Naruto-sensei made sure of that. Thank you for that, by the way, she says as she squeezes his arm. Ah, no problem. I told you it is something of a specialty of mine, Naruto says with a chuckle. How about you give us the grand tour later? It seems like it could take a while. Of course. No making fun of my room, however. I haven't had time to change it yet, Revel states. Her room right now is completely pink, with many stories of a prince rescuing a princess. She even has a few action figures. No promises, Vali says with a smirk. Come on, Naruto-sensei, Revel says as she pulls his arm. I don't think there will be anyone home except for my family. Not even their peerages. They walk in through the front doors, and Naruto is once again captivated by the sheer wealth this place has on display. Priceless works of art, gold trim everywhere, marble floors and red carpet that looks like it was woven from the finest materials. Then he looks up and sees a magnificent crystal chandelier illuminating the reception area. He has no doubt the rest of the house is like this. At one point in time, he might have been disgusted by all the wealth on display, but now he doesn't care what they do with their money. It's theirs after all. Still, the amount of gold is a little gaudy. This is very grand, Vali says after a pause to find the correct word. I think this reception area could fit our whole house, Naruto says in a deadpan, getting a sheepish chuckle from Revel. Yes, well, devils are known for displays of grandeur, especially my family. Let's go greet my family first. They are probably outside on the patio, Revel says as she leads them through the house. They pass countless doors and various gathering areas before finally reaching the sliding glass doors that lead outside. Revel opens them with barely a push and walks outside, with Naruto and Vali following. She looks to the left and sees her mother, father, and oldest brother sitting around a table chatting. Okawa-sama, Oto-sama, Oni-sama, we are here, she calls out. Their chatter instantly ceases and they all look in her direction, with Revan and Layla Fenix getting smiles, while Ruvels is on the whiskered blonde behind her. He recognizes him as the SS Stray from the Leviathan. Instantly summoning his magic, he launches several fireballs at Naruto, while creating a ginormous magic circle 20 feet above and drops a huge fireball onto him. Vali and Revel instantly react, Revel forming a magical shield that easily tanks her brother's frontal attack while Vali creates one above them, the fireball crashing into it and the flames cover it while also spilling out over the sides. Meanwhile, Naruto is standing there with his eyebrow raised, not concerned whatsoever. Vali then creates 15 magic circles in the space around them about to shoot off various ice spells at Revel before Naruto holds up his hand, signaling her to stand down. Vali reluctantly complies, though keeps her guard up. Revel, what the hell are you doing? That's an SS-class stray devil behind you, Revel yells shocked. Oni-sama, that is my sensei. You will not attack him, Revel yells out, giving him the nastiest glare he has ever received from her. In fact, it might be the first glare he has ever received. Layla, snapping out of her shock, immediately hits her the back of her son's head and gives a bow. I am sorry Naruto Dono for my eldest son's behavior. We were just about to inform him of you being her sensei before you walked in, Layla says. Ma, don't worry about it. I was never in any danger anyway. Good job Revel-chan, Vali-chan, Naruto says as he waves away her concerns. If he didn't know, then it would be reasonable to attack him. This is real? Ka-san, Tu-san. You are really allowing him to train Revel? Revel asks shocked. Yes Revel. It is real and you very well will show Naruto Dono every respect or you will be punished. Layla says with a smile that promises pain should he answer wrong. Revel stands there dumbfounded. His parents are allowing a stray devil, one of significant power going by his classification, to teach Revel. Not to mention let her live with him as well. Why? He asks. Why? Revel parrots angrily, still annoyed that her brother attacked her sensei. Because, simply, Naruto sensei is amazing. He saved me from being kidnapped, changed me from a spoiled, untrained princess into someone who is confident in herself and skills, taught me morals to live by, and takes care of me without asking anything in return. She yells heatedly. Revel stands shell-shocked at Revel's outburst and looks to Naruto who is rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. Vali grins at Revel for giving their sensei the praise he deserves. I feel the same way too sensei, she whispers to him. Naruto blushes slightly but doesn't respond. Again sorry for that Naruto Dono, Revan says as he eyes him intently. His wife told him of Revel's affections for her teacher and wants to judge his character. His daughter speaks very highly of him, but he wants to form his own opinion. It really was no trouble. You saw how my two favorite students handled it. Also, please, call me Naruto, Naruto says nonchalantly. Now, Layla exclaims clapping her hands together, why don't we get to know each other all a little better? I would definitely love to hear everything you three have done the past 9 months. And maybe a demonstration of Revel's skills? Okawa-sama, Revel whines. Sure, I have a few funny stories of Revel-chan, Naruto says as he takes a seat, his two students flanking him. Vali continues to give Revel a fierce scowl, making him slightly more uncomfortable than he already is. Perfect, Layla says with a bright smile. Revel sneaks away from everyone else to check on the cake that she is baking. When they first got here, she left for 15 minutes and went to the kitchen. She has always enjoyed baking and if she does say so herself, she is an excellent baker. Now, the cake should be nearly done. She gets to the kitchen and spies on her baking cake. It looks ready. I hope Naruto-sensei enjoys it. Okawa-sama told me that one of the ways to a man's heart is through his stomach, Revel thinks excitedly. She then blushes as she thinks of another way her mother told her to get a man's heart. Shaking away her naughty thoughts, she opens the stove and grabs the metal pan barehanded. A phoenix can't be burned by something that is less hot than their flames. When Naruto-sensei learned this, he constantly had her try to increase their intensity. One less weakness to worry about. She still constantly trains them, even during the last month. Sensei said he wouldn't train them, but not that they couldn't train themselves. She quickly gets to work cooling it off by manipulating the air around it. She adds just a hint of ice magic to the air to cool it, but that's it. Her skill in ice magic is nearly non-existent. After it cools off, she applies the icing, making it all white with an orange swirl in the middle. Satisfied with her work, she quickly sets out to bring it to her sensei, imagining him patting her on the head for a good job. That's her favorite reward from him. As she rounds a corner lost in her thoughts, she nearly runs into someone, using all the coordination and balance she has to nimbly avoid them while also keeping the cake intact. Breathing out a sigh of relief, she looks back and sees her brother Riser. "Ah, Revel, Riser heard you were back home from whatever you were doing. You will join Riser's peerage as Riser's bishop," he states with a tone of finality. "No, I won't, Oni-sama," she instantly replies. Shocked that his younger sister denied him, he says again, "Yes, you will, Revel. No, I won't join your harem that does nothing other than have with you. Now I have to go, Oni-sama," she says as she starts walking away. Riser's shock soon turns into anger that Revel said no to him. How dare she? He grabs her arm and pulls, causing her to jerk back suddenly and loses her grip on the cake. It splatters on the ground in front of her. "Now listen here," Riser says before a hard punch lands in his stomach, followed by several more hits, including a knee to the groin. He staggers back in pain, shocked that his little sister hit him. He looks into her eyes and slightly flinches at the anger in her eyes. "That cake was for my sensei," she says, deathly calm, which somehow raises the hairs on the back of Riser's neck in slight fear. "It is his birthday and I wanted to give him something special. Now it is ruined because of your stupidity. You will go to him and sincerely apologize and ask for him to wait for me to make another one, or I will castrate you," Revel threatens. Riser, a devil who has an extreme amount of pride and will pretty much never back down except to someone he knows outclasses him, decides to swallow it and apologize to whatever high-class devil for what he did as a favor to his sister. It isn't because he is a little afraid of her right now. Nope. Revel uses a small amount of fire magic to burn the ruined cake to ashes and walks off a brisk pace. Riser follows along reluctantly, the previous topic of discussion all but forgotten. They soon reach the patio where everyone is located. Her mother's eyes light up when she sees her, but frowns in confusion when she doesn't have the cake. Then she sees Riser behind Revel and her eyes widen. She hopes Riser has the sense to not attack Naruto. His magic reserves outclass his by a fair margin, not to mention his chakra. This time she had a much harder time sensing his chakra as his magic has gotten even better at obscuring it. "Now apologize," Revel says with authority, trying to emulate her sensei when he gives them an order. Riser, however, is busy ogling the silver-haired bombshell sitting at the table. Forget Revel, he wants her in his peerage. Giving his most charming smile, he approaches her and says, "Riser is the name. Will you join Riser's peerage as Riser's bishop?" "No," came the immediately cold response with a glare for extra measure. Revel looks on with anger as not only is her brother not apologizing to Naruto-sensei, but he is even trying to get her best friend to join his harem. Riser frowns slightly, but he isn't easy to deter when a body like hers is the reward. "Are you sure you don't want to join Riser? Riser will take very good care of you," he smirks arrogantly. Vali adopts a severe scowl with anger in her eyes at the suggestion. "How dare he? Not in a million years would I ever look at you with any hint of UAL attraction, you pompous, arrogant, small limp asshole," Vali says with a smirk as she sees his expression change from a fake pleasantness to anger. "Well, I'll just show you who's limp, Ed," he says as he reaches for her, before a hand with an iron grip grabs his arm. He looks up and stares into ice-chip blue eyes. "Layla, Revan, if you don't want me to turn your asshole of a son into paste, you will have him apologize to Vali and leave," Naruto says lowly, but anyone with ears can hear the genuine anger in his voice. Vali gains a blush. Layla and Revan finally snap into motion. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion in front of you, only you can't help nor turn your eyes away. "Riser, you will apologize to Vali this instant or so help me," his mother threatens with his father giving him a stern expression. Revel is still shocked by the treatment and threat he made against a guest. Riser, however, only focuses on the blonde grabbing him. He flares his power, trying to assert dominance over the teen. The blonde starts shaking, making Riser think that it is working, and he smirks, until a snicker of laughter makes it through his lips and the floodgates open. The blonde is openly laughing at him, as if mocking him. A high-class devil, not a low-class reincarnated devil. It's funny when a chicken threatens a fox. Naruto laughs out, but there is no amusement in it. How dare you? Unhand me now, you low-class devil. Riser snarls as he tries to pull his arm away to no avail. Layla goes up to her son and smacks him, stunning him into silence. She then forcibly grabs his arm and pulls him away from everyone. Revel starts crying and runs to her room. Naruto, Vali, Revel and Revel stand around awkwardly. He may have the biggest stick up his ass I have ever seen. And I have seen many, Naruto says, getting a laugh from Vali. Yes, we are hoping he will change soon. Especially with his arranged marriage to the Gregori heiress, Revel says. He usually isn't that bad, Revel says in defense of his brother. You are letting him marry the little sister of Mao Lucifer? I don't know much, but I heard he is a Siscon of the highest order, Naruto says with a raised eyebrow. That's not going to end well for your family. Imagine the child born between them having the power of destruction and our immortality. They would be a shoe-in for a super devil. Revel defends his position. Naruto and Vali let out a snort of laughter at that. A child being powerful just from being born? Ridiculous. No one is just strong by simply being born. There is no shortcut to power. The only way is hard work that is paved in blood, sweat, and tears. Just look at Revel, Naruto says with a shake of his head. Truly, there is something wrong with Devil Society. Regardless, Riser will marry her, Revel says with a note that signals the discussion is over. Naruto shrugs as it doesn't concern him. Vali-chan, let's go get Revel-chan, Naruto suggests. Vali hops up and grabs his arm as they walk off. It takes them 15 minutes to find Revel's room. When they do, they knock on the door and with no response other than the faint sounds of sniffles, they walk in. They see Revel in her wrinkled dress with her face in a pillow sobbing. In that moment, Naruto is reminded that this is only a 13-year-old girl, mature yes, but not a shinobi like he has been treating her. Approaching her, he softly calls out, Revel-chan? Revel looks up from her pillow and sees the vague silhouette of her sensei and Vali through her tears. She starts crying harder and Naruto quickly wraps her up in a hug. Vali sits on the other side of her and hugs her too. Hey Revel-chan, everything is okay, don't worry. I am sorry I caused all this trouble and for treating you two like shinobis from back home instead of young girls. All the stress I am putting on your shoulders definitely isn't helping, Naruto says sorrowfully. Training all day, including deep into the nights most days, and allowing them no time to do anything else isn't healthy. They aren't expected to go on missions and defend their village at a moment's notice after all. What are you apologizing to me for? Revel asks in disbelief while chuckling. All I wanted was to give you a happy birthday with my family and to bake you a cake myself. Instead, you get attacked by Revel Onisama. My cake is knocked out of my hands by Riser Nisama, and finally he threatens Vali. Not exactly a great birthday. I am happy to spend my birthday with my two precious people in this world. As long as we were together, I don't care about anything else, Naruto tells her. Vali smiles at her sensei as this just reaffirms that he is the best. Besides, if you want to bake me a cake you can do it at home anytime you want. Provided, of course, you finish your Rasengan training. After that I will go easier on you both, Naruto says with a chuckle. Revel grabs his arm and stares at him while shaking her head. Vali is frowning as well. No Naruto-sensei, if anything, I want you to increase my training. It took me a while but I have finally found a goal for myself and I have to reach it at any cost. So, train me harder, please, Revel says. After all, my goal is one day to stand by your side as an equal no matter what we face. I agree with Revel, sensei. Don't hold back. You're our precious sensei just the way you are, Vali exclaims. Naruto gives them a blinding smile that shines so bright even Rock Lee would be jealous. Hi, I will do exactly that then. I love you both so much, he says as he wraps his arms around the both of them. Both Vali's and Revel's mind grind to a screeching halt. This is the first time that Naruto has told either of them that he loves them. Sure, they thought he did, But hearing the words brings about a feeling of relief and excitement. Now only to turn that love into romantic love. Hey sensei, do you remember that favor that you owe me? I want you to let us spend the night inside the house and let Revel bake you a cake, Vali says. Revel looks at her with wide eyes as she knows Vali was saving that for something really special to do with Naruto-sensei. Nodding his head slowly with a smile, Naruto replies, "Sure, I think we can make that work." "Naruto-sensei, can we go home?" Revel asks with her eyes still red from crying. "Of course, Revel-chan. We can go right now," Naruto says. They all stand up and Revel creates a teleportation circle back to their house. Sarafal drums her fingers on her desk as she waits for her appointment. Usually, all she really has to do is read through some papers and sign off on them, which she normally delegates to her aides as she doesn't want to do it. Like right now, her eyes flicker to the corner of her office where she has a hidden room that is solely dedicated to observing her so-tan. It contains pictures, monitors, a full body pillow, and even a magical girl outfit to dress up her little sister in. She couldn't imagine going one day without her fix of so-tan. Meanwhile, Sona C-Tree shivers and unconsciously pulls her skirt down. She is certain someone was thinking of her with less than pure thoughts and has a faint suspicion who. She resolves herself to thoroughly check her house tonight for secret observation spells. Sarafal lets out a sigh, something she has been doing a lot lately, as her thoughts move away from So-tan and toward a man she has only spoken to for an hour. Her queen, Naruto Uzumaki. Ever since he ran off, her life has taken a turn for the worse. The snide comments, the laughter behind her back, and the questions about her capability as a Mao are all getting to her. Her smiles are becoming more fake and she doesn't even really enjoy shooting a new episode of her show anymore. When she first found him, she was actually really happy. Growing up, she didn't have any friends as the tensions between clans were at an all-time high. Paranoia was rampant with calls for war from the Satans and calls for peace from others, so no one could trust anyone else. Finally, war broke out and the C-Trees fought with the anti-Satan faction. During the war, however, she felt guilty that she was actually happy. The reason? She had finally found friends in Ijuka, Fabrium, and Sirzex and they would almost always be together. They grew powerful and started dominating the battlefields until even her own soldiers would be wary of her. But she didn't mind as she had her friends. Finally, they pushed the old Satan faction out of the underworld and she destroyed the Caitlyn Leviathan in single combat, though she wasn't able to kill her. Riding the high of victory, her friends became Satans and not wanting to be left out, she decided to become one too. She just wanted to stay with them forever. Over the past 500 years or so, however, things have changed. Sirzex got married to a taskmaster. Ijuka became a recluse consumed in his work, and Fabrium converted into the epitome of sloth. She saw them less and less and tried to make new friends and hopefully a husband, but her power became a hindrance. The men she tried to date were jealous of her power or solely lusted for her body while the women were bitter that their men would lust after her. That's not her fault. She kept trying and trying, but ultimately gave up. Depressed, she became a recluse herself for a while, only showing up for work with her friends not even noticing. The birth of her So-tan helped relieve her of that loneliness and depression, but it slightly hurts every time her sister's eyes flash in annoyance at seeing her. Reincarnating Naruto had rekindled her desire to make new friends that would always stay by her side and before even talking to him she attached those feelings to him. When he ran away, that flame was brutally snuffed out and it broke her a bit more than she already was. He just needs to give me a chance. Once I get him back, I'll shower him with affection and we will be friends, I know it. A knock at the door interrupts her melancholic thoughts and she sits a little straighter. Plastering on a fake smile she calls out, "Come in." The door swings open to show one of her aides holding the door for undoubtedly one of the most gorgeous women in the world. With a little sachet in her step, the 5 feet 6 inches brunette with tan Middle Eastern skin and golden eyes greets Sarafal with a smile. Wearing a dress that snugly fits her body and flares out near the feet with white frills, Sarafal admits it is more conservative than what she thought the goddess would wear. Greetings Ishtar, goddess of war and love. It is extremely rare to get a diplomat from your pantheon for us. I believe the last was just after our civil war ended, no? Indeed, Mao Leviathan. Well, this is more of a personal discussion between us than the Sumerian faction and the Devil faction. Sarafal quirks an eyebrow in response, not sure what she could possibly have in common with the whore of Babylon. About what? A sly cat that caught the canary smile spreads out across Ishtar's face. Naruto Uzumaki. Her words resound throughout the room for a moment before a groan escapes Sarafal's lips. She can already tell this is going to add to her recent struggles. What about my queen? Sarafal asks politely. He visited the Sumerian pantheon not too long ago. Ishtar says airily, with Sarafal showing a slightly surprised expression. Before she can ask anything, Ishtar continued. He was certainly charming and handsome. I made sure to fully avail my talents to him, but he ended up leaving me impressed. Ishtar watches Sarafal's expression closely, but doesn't see a hint of irritation or jealousy that she was hoping for. She pouts. Not jealous that I had mind-blowing, the kind you crave with all your being, with your servant? Sarafal rolls her eyes in exasperation. What do I care that you spread your legs open for him? I am not some idiot that falls in love with someone at first sight, you know? Nor am I some 600-year virgin. I am a devil, you know. When I get him back, I'll indulge myself. Well, that ruins most of my fun. Ishtar mutters a bit depressed. She loves seeing the envy, betrayal, horror and such on other women's faces when she tells them she fucked their man. Was there any point you had come to make besides have with my queen? Sarafal asks. Yeah, the Sumerian faction wants you to not label Naruto Uzumaki a stray and that we won't hunt him. Well, one might, but. Anyways, if you do find him, please tell him to visit me sometime. If I see him, I'll let him know. The forced politeness in her voice is easy to distinguish. Great, now I seem to have an itch I'd like to scratch, so would you mind if I went to Agrias? The orgies there are insane, with the men thrusting their S into anything that even remotely resembles a hole. A shiver of anticipation and lust sweeps over Ishtar's body. Sarafal can't help but be a little disgusted by that reaction. She has some standards. I don't mind. Just ask my secretary to set it up for you. Are you sure you don't want to join? I doubt anyone would recognize you, especially if you changed your appearance a little. You'd just be a nice ass for men to shoot their seed into. We can even take them all on together. Ishtar tells her, using a touch of her power to try and build an unquenchable lust in the female Mao. Sarafal flares her powers in response, destroying Ishtar's attempt. Her eyes turn glacial as she starts at the amused smirk on the goddess's face. Get out of here, Ishtar, before you start something you can't finish. Sarafal warns as she starts to build up her magical power. Ooh, scary. Ishtar mocks, laughing as she leaves the room, swaying her hips a little more than necessary. Sarafal rubs her head with the palms of her hands, her thoughts centering around the blonde once more. Damn it, Naruto. Don't stick your in crazy. Sarafal completely misses the irony of her own thought. Well, Vali-chan, that certainly was a fun 3 days, Naruto says as he floats in the sky with Vali several hundred feet away. She is looking rather beaten up, with her armor and wings all falling apart. Panting, Vali glares at her sensei. She can still go on. I am not done yet, sensei. Vali raggedly says and settles herself back into a fighting stance. Yes, you are. It'll be quick, so don't blink, he says before his power enormously increases as he glows briefly, Vali's eyes widening and her primal instincts scream at her to flee, and he disappears. It was the last thing she saw. Naruto looks down at his now unconscious 15-year-old student in his arms with a proud gleam in his eyes. Her first time using her sacred gear, and she has already enough strength to use her balance breaker, Vanishing Dragon Balance Breaker. She would never be this strong without you, nor be able to stay in this form for long. Albion says out loud, well, of course she did. No pupil of mine wouldn't be a prodigy. Only 15 and this strong. She would have kicked my ass when I was 15 inches, Naruto says, laughing. Maybe he would have caught her off guard with his reverse harem jutsu like Kaguya. Naruto walks up to the red barrier and his clones release it, then disperse. He modeled it after the reports of the Sound 4 barrier from the invasion of Konoha, as it won't allow outside interference, and added a containment portion so that the power they give off won't be sensed outside. He can't take 2 steps with the barrier down before a little blonde blur barrels into him. Naruto-sensei, why were you so long? Revel asks as she looks down at Vali in his arms. She takes out a vial of Fenix tears and pours it on her, healing all of her broken bones and wounds. Well, Vali-chan is a prodigy. She lasted 3 whole days in her balance breaker and I was testing out her limits. My clone was with you, no? Naruto questions. Yes, but it's not the same. I could have come in the barrier with you too. Revel whines. Sorry Revel-chan, but you are still a while away from being at Vali's level. While you have your immortality, she inherited Lucifer trait of having immense demonic reserves compared to other devils. Her Longinus gives her an unfair advantage, sort of like the Sharingan, Naruto says. So overpowered. But I can get there one day, right? Revel questions desperately. Of course. You can get as powerful as you want if you put in the work and I will be right there cheering you along, Naruto says with a wink. His clone's memories flood back to him and he sees what Revel has done. You made another cake? Naruto asks eagerly. Her cakes are nearly as good as ramen. Yup, I thought you would appreciate it. You should be thankful that a lady such as I made you a cake, she says with fake haughtiness, drawing a laugh. Vali squirms in his hands as she begins to wake up. Those Fenix tears really work wonders. She opens her eyes and sees her sensei carrying her with Revel beside her. She snuggles into her sensei's chest, relishing in the physical contact. You're so warm, Vali purrs out. Laughing, Naruto puts her down making her pout. What happened sensei? One moment you were glowing ethereally orange and the next I remember nothing, Vali asks. You saw a part of my ultimate form, you could say. I used it to knock you out in less than a second, Naruto says while rubbing the back of his head. To think Naruto's sensei had something like that. Revel says in slight awe. How much more powerful can it get? Vali questions. Much more powerful, Naruto says with a little laugh. Vali and Revel get depressed slightly before resolving themselves to work harder to catch up. Naruto sensei, I still am having trouble coming up with ways to get around my mediocre taijutsu, but I can't think of anything. Do you have any suggestions? Revel asks. Hard work, Naruto says getting a deadpan. Sorry Revel-chan, but you just need to keep working at it. Once you get to a sufficient level, I actually have several ideas that could make you really deadly from close. Here is a hint. Use heat, Naruto says. Heat? Revel questions as she looks toward Vali who frowns in confusion as well. Yup, now let's go eat some cake, Naruto says as he walks quickly to the house. He is really hungry and it sounds like the ideal meal. Red ruby eyes stare intently down at a house in the middle of a forest with an angry scowl on her face. Waves of power radiate off her signaling her intent. In her hand is a spear with red mist coming of it that she hurls at a speed impossible for all but a few to follow. It pierces the house, hitting the ground below, and a huge explosion 300 yards wide engulfs the surrounding area. She moves at such a high speed that it looks like teleportation and lands next to her spear and pulls it out of the ground. A huge power, matching and maybe even surpassing hers, comes from her right and she clicks her tongue in annoyance. Figures that wouldn't kill the man of my affection, she thinks with begrudging respect. She raises her power levels even more, and the aura matches her. She takes back to the air and stares down the whisker-marked blonde who is shielding his 2 little students whose names she can't remember. It seems she caught them all asleep, going by how Naruto and the silver-haired girl are in their underwear, while the little girl is in pajamas. Seems like I missed, she says out loud. Ureshkagao-chan? What the fuck? Naruto yells out bewildered. She only snarls at the suffix added to her name. She raises her power even more. Every living being in 30 miles can feel the power she is emitting. Naruto adopts his 9 tails cloak as he summons several clones. One immediately starts meditating while the others stand ready to protect his students. You are going to die here today, Uzumaki Naruto, she yells out before instantly launching into attacking him. Vali and Revel don't even see her move before she is right in front of Naruto, her spear attempting to pierce him. Even Naruto is caught slightly off guard, but he manages to barely dodge. He tries to grab the spear, before hissing in pain as the red mist hits his hand and he immediately retracts it and kicks her away. Vali, Revel, get out of here now. You will die if you stay, Naruto says seriously as his clone-gathering senjutsu dispels, sending it all to him and his power increases even higher. Fuck yeah, an actual fight, with one of your previous lovers no less. You must really suck in bed, Kurama snickers as he gathers and molds his chakra for Naruto to use. Ignoring the voice in his head, he rapidly dodges several more spear thrusts as his clones are running away with his students as fast as they can. A pair of skeleton hands grabs his ankles and he is momentarily held in place for maybe a millisecond, but it is a big enough opening for Ereshkigal to take advantage of and she thrusts right for his heart. Naruto creates a chakra arm which intercepts the lance and he manages to get away before he is skewered. He eyes down Ereshkigal warily, knowing that she still isn't using anywhere near her full power that she is radiating. She is testing him right now. Still, he has no doubt that all the supernatural factions are now aware that something is going on here. Annoyed at being attacked and his precious students almost dying, he gives her a glare that promises pain. He appears in front of her in an instant and thrusts a Rasengan into her gut before she can react and sends her flying away. She gets up instantly, not fazed at all by the attack. Not even her clothes, which are very seductive looking, are damaged. Naruto expected this much as she is a goddess after all. The most powerful one currently in the Sumerian pantheon. That tickled, she says rolling her eyes. He should know that wouldn't hurt her. Why the hell are you doing this, Air-chan? You almost killed me and my students, Naruto asks honestly confused. It makes no sense to him as the last time they saw each other it was on good terms. Her red eyes harden as she remembers why she is here. She draws on her full power, now radiating across Germany and beyond, where all the citizens feel as if a ton has dropped on top of them. Many die from heart attacks. She sends out blasts of death magic at him, causing him to contort his body rapidly to miss them by the thinnest of margins as he knows his magic is nowhere near the level to stop those kinds of attacks yet and he'd rather not risk tanking it with his cloak on. Annoyed, he creates several clones each going after Ereshkigal while he creates 2 Rasen shurikens in his hands. He throws them directly at her and with a flick of her wrist a magic barrier appears in front of her and tanks them easily. Scowling, he tries to get in close, but her spearwork is flawless, driving him back. He doesn't take out Kabikirabocho as he knows that it would instantly be cut through by that spear like butter. I should be faster than this, Naruto thinks to himself annoyed. Ereshkigal is powerful and his instincts scream that he shouldn't get hit by that spear no matter the cost. His clones pop and tell him that Vali and Revel are safe, as they teleported to the North Pole. Naruto creates a Bijudama in his hand, adding in Sage Mode Chakra, making it even stronger. He launches it at Ereshkigal, whose eyes slightly widen at the technique and dodges by a centimeter. It hits the ground many miles away and a huge explosion that rocks all of Germany for a moment occurs. The aftermath is a 2-mile-wide crater going hundreds of feet into the ground with the surrounding area out of the crater incinerated. Naruto is slightly surprised by how powerful that scaled-down version is. He could have made that a lot more powerful and Kurama could have made one that dwarfed it. That might have killed me. Ereshkigal shouts angrily and Naruto raises an eyebrow in disbelief. Did she really just say that after trying to kill me? Not even to mention Vali and Revel. Naruto thinks to himself, why did you sleep with a crazy goddess? Also, to answer your previous statement, you still haven't released your restriction seal, Kurama questions. Naruto wants to slap himself in the face. How did he forget to do that? That is a mistake he would have made when he was younger. It shouldn't happen now. He releases it and it feels light. He is as light as a feather. He disappears from Ereshkigal's view and appears behind her, delivering a punishing kick to her side. She gets sent a mile away into the ground. This time she gets up with a bit of golden blood coming out of her mouth. She creates a ginormous magic circle in the sky, at least 2 miles wide, and a black mist spews out of it covering the land. Everything below rots away to nothing while Naruto's cloak keeps him safe, though he has to constantly replenish it now thanks to the mist. Then an even larger circle appears and thousands of lightning bolts start peppering the area. Naruto having to constantly dodge as he creates several clones, trying to draw some of the fire away from him. He responds in turn by creating a Biju-powered ultra-big ball Rasen shuriken and throws it, instantly covering the distance between them and hits the shield she created. This time the billions of super-powered wind blades slice through the barrier and Ereshkigal gets hit. Her screams of pain loudly reverberate throughout the countryside as Naruto looks on, thinking it's over. As she appears from the sphere with blood coming out of everywhere, she is breathing raggedly, but very much alive, shocking Naruto. How? He questions as he doesn't even think he can survive a direct hit from something like that. I am an extremely powerful goddess of death. I know of several ways to cheat it, she says as she wipes the blood from her mouth. She is going to kill him if it's the last thing she does. Spear in hand, it starts glowing ominously as she pours power into it. She speeds over to Naruto and goes on an all-out offensive. Thrusting, twirling, swiping and slashing with her spear, trying to land a hit on him. Eventually, she nicks his arm as he was unable to avoid the attack and she smirks. Naruto sees that smirk and frowns as clearly something just happened. Then he feels it, the most excruciating pain that he has even felt in his life. Nothing has ever come close to what he is feeling right now, including the Chidori to the chest. He immediately distances himself, extremely wary and panting heavily. Urashikage frowns slightly as she thought that would have ended it. What the hell was that? Naruto questions as he can still feel the pain. Now, why would I tell you? Urashikage asks in return. What idiot explains what their attacks do in the middle of a deathmatch? Still, I am surprised you survived. Let's see if you do so again, Urashikage says as she draws on her full power and her divine aspects. Naruto's eyes widen as he feels the power build up and flashes over to her, trying to disrupt it. Unfortunately, he is a fraction of a second too late. Kirkalirkalla. She yells and the land within 10 miles explodes upward as a violent red beam of energy appears from the ground, consuming everything. Naruto, caught in the blast, only has milliseconds to form a defense or risk annihilation. He grimaces and he uses 6 Paths Sage mode along with his 6 Paths chakra, sending his power to a level that ignites a primal fear in the heart of Urashikage. He forms a truth-seeking ball that he has encircle him just before the attack hits. Once it ends, Naruto steps out of the black sphere and Urashikage instinctively takes a step back in trepidation. The blonde's power level went so high that she can barely feel it. No doubt, he was just playing with her before. Naruto looks around to see a barren, molten landscape with some magma and a deep crater for as far as he can see. No doubt from his attack and hers, hundreds to thousands of lives were lost. Just like the Shinobi War. Idly, he notes that he isn't so upset by this like he would have been before. It may have to do with being a devil now, or he just doesn't have any connection to the humans of this world. Well, that certainly got everyone's attention if we didn't have it before. I think it's time to end this before they get here, no? Naruto says as he flashes before her and lands several extremely brutal hits on her body and face. Blood flies and bones break as she is rocketed down to the ground below. He speeds down right next to her as she tries to get up, kneeing her in the stomach, and she crumples over. He bats the spear away from her, still extremely wary of it. So Air-chan, why did you do this? I really can't think of a reason, Naruto asks as he levels a sword made out of a truth-seeking ball at her. One stab and she will be annihilated. She mumbles something under her breath that he can't pick him, even with his sensitive hearing. What? I said because you ran away from me. You were my first and I wanted to be with you, but you ran and never came back, Urashikage yells, shocking Naruto. Do you realize how hard it is for me to find someone? I am the Sumerian goddess of death who didn't even know that another realm existed for millennia. Everyone worships or fears me and no one sees me as me. I was lonely. Then you came along and spent time with me, not caring of my status, and became special to me. Then after a drunken night of me proclaiming you my consort, you fled, making me the laughing stock of the gods. So, I tracked you down and planned to kill you because if you can't be with me, I won't allow you to be with anyone else. Urashikage finishes her rant with tears in her eyes. Naruto lowers his sword slightly, still shocked while also feeling slightly guilty. He did just leave and not say anything to her after spending 2 weeks getting to know her and spending several nights together. So, it justified a full-out assault to try and kill me with thousands of humans dying as a result? Naruto questions. Do you know what I hear every day? The complaints and screams of humans. They are nothing more than annoying insects that I can't stand. You rule the Sumerian underworld for several millennia and think differently. I don't care as long as I killed you. I would have taken your soul and you would have spent eternity with me, Urashikage says as her tears dry up. It was a good plan, if only Naruto wasn't as powerful as he is. She didn't even know he was that powerful. Besides, we both know we limited ourselves as he could have easily destroyed the entire country at full power. But that would draw out other deities faster, Urashikage says as she looks at the sword. Are you going to kill me? She asks calmly, but the quaver in her lip tells him that she is scared. Naruto says as he powers down back to his base form. He couldn't live with himself if he killed her now. A look of relief passes through her face. She may be a goddess of death, but she still fears it. Well, I am leaving now as I am sure that factions are going to be coming now that our powers are under control. Bye Air-chan and don't do this again, Naruto says. Wait, can I come? Urashikagal asks a little desperately. When Naruto looks back, in her eyes he sees a desperate girl that doesn't want to be alone anymore. He sighs as he knows his students are going to kill him. Sure, but if you do anything to threaten my students again I will end you. No exceptions. Am I clear? He says and she nods her head rapidly. With one last sigh, he offers his hand and she eagerly grabs it and pulls herself up. He creates a teleportation circle and heads to the North Pole to his students. Not a minute later, representatives from the Devil, Fallen, Heaven, Norse, Greek, and Egyptian factions appeared. Needless to say, things got intense fast. 4x. And so that's why Urashikagal is here with me now, Naruto finishes his story. Vali's and Revel's jaws were on the ground. The bitch that almost killed them and their sensei is now going to be with them indefinitely and they have to worry about another romantic rival as it is clear she likes him. Urashikagal clears her throat, getting 2 death glares. My, oh my, she chuckles out nervously. I won't cause any more harm to you two nor Naruto-kun. I merely wish to be with him as I told him. Don't you have godly duties? Revel asks as she recovers herself. A goddess of death surely can't skip out on them. Actually, with my pantheon hardly having any followers left, I rarely receive new souls. I would have to check up on it once every 6 months or so, but that's it. If you aren't a leader of your pantheon, you'd be surprised by just how much free time gods and goddesses have on their hands. They mostly look for entertainment, Urashikagal explains. Both Vali's and Revel's brows twitch at hearing she will be with them constantly. Well, I think our main problem now is that we are homeless, Naruto says as he looks out at the white landscape. Truly, this is a frozen desert. Where are we going to go, sensei? Vali asks as she shivers. She changed into normal clothes, but it's still freezing. I am thinking the USA. Specifically, Arizona. Lots of land and few neighbors that I can easily buy out, Naruto says. Perfect training conditions for his young students and himself. Anything you want for the house? He asks around. I want a great kitchen. Revel says. I want a large bath to seat a group of people in hot spring, Vali says as she plans ahead. Well, I am used to a palace and dead servants, but as long as I share a room with you it's fine. Urashikagal says with a smile, making Revel and Vali cough on the air. Even Naruto's eyes widen. You sure you don't want your own room? Naruto asks cautiously. He still feels like she is a loose cannon. Nope. Ishtar, that bitch, once bragged to me that makeup is the best and I have a lot of making up to do, Urashikagal says as she rubs her thighs together. Naruto's previous power may have made her experience primal fear then, but looking back on it, it makes her highly aroused. Naruto looks over the 5 feet 3 inches blonde, red-eyed goddess who has a sinful body that looks great in the black dress like apparel with her black panties on full display in the front and her light maroon, black cape going down to her feet, with a black crown adorning her head. He certainly likes the idea of makeup with her. He hasn't seen Freya in a while. Well, I believe we can get that house today. Let's go, he stutters out, to the annoyance of his students. The competition just got harder.
That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and do comments.